Hello and hello, ladies and gamers. Oh, it's time for the fun to begin. Oh boy. Alright, so I'm gonna jump into VC and then we'll get started here shortly.
That's
I
cool.
think it's just the people that are showing it and whatnot, and Sonic fans are complaining about unnecessary things, but
I mean, to be honest, like the previous showings was, it was pretty eh. I mean, in the sense that the open world thing was, it looked pretty barren.
yeah.
But I'm not like a Sonic guy, so I can't really tell what a Sonic fan wants. But just as, a gamer.
I'll tell you this. I'm one of the
Oh, hey, Splinter, what's up?
Splinters
Hey
here.
man,
Nice. Epic.
hold on, you guys
Yes.
keep on talking because there's a few
so you were
things I
saying?
need to...
I'm one of the Sonic fans that is open to even the worst of games.
Okay.
So, like, I don't defend those games whatsoever. I don't say, oh, it's actually really good. You're just stupid. No. I get into, like, these are the parts of the game that are good about it, and these are the parts that are really bad. Majority is really bad. It is a bad game because of these issues, because they are critical, but there are certain things that it does that are really good that can make it enjoyable if you make it enjoyable for yourself. So it really just all depends. Like Sonic
Yeah,
06. Sonic 06, it's one of the worst video games to ever release in the history of video games. Like ever.
Right.
And it completely ruined Sonic's reputation, and I think we're still paying for that today.
Okay.
But I still find enjoyment out of it because of how bad it is, as well as there's certain things about it that it does that are really fun.
Here, hold on.
And so it's just not as bad as people would say, I guess you could think. Like nowadays some people accept Sonic 06, and I'm like, the problem with Sonic fans is that there are so many different kinds of them. You can never be set on a single set of Sonic fans. You've got the boost era people who like the boost gameplay. You've got the adventure era people like myself who like the adventure.
The boost ones are like the 3D ones, is it?
Yeah, adventure era is also 3D, but it's different.
I'm completely Sonic illiterate. Like I have Sonic Mania and I have the first, the 90s Sonic on my phone, and that's it.
Those are all great. Those are all great ports too. The phone ports are great, and so is Mania. Mania is one of my favorite games. But yeah, that's more of the classic. Then you got like the classic fans as well, and I like the classics as well. I've played them all. In fact, I started on those, and yeah, my first game was Mega Collection Plus, where you got like a whole pack of classic games just for a small price of like $20, and it was really cool. Back in the day, that was incredible.
Sorry, hold on, I'm trying to get everything set up.
And so the problem is now you've got all these different types of Sonic fans that are split up because there's so many different kinds of games. Because Sega, unlike Nintendo likes to stick with a more traditional style with Mario. They've experimented with him before. It's not like they don't mix it up, but they do tend to stick with a more traditional core. Whereas with Sonic, every single game is almost different in its entirety. It's always trying to do something new. So like Sonic Adventure 1, you could spam your spin dash. The level design was essentially classic Sonic, but in 3D. You also had different styles of gameplay, and those characters would play around in those same exact stages. Okay?
Right.
And it also had open world in between. Then you go to Sonic Adventure 2, there is no open world. It's all entirely linear. The speed stages are more action focused, and the emerald hunting stages are a lot bigger and behave more like a labyrinth. So it's a little bit different. And then the shooting is more of a traditional platformer with shooting.
Hold on. And then...
So it's pretty crazy how different it can be. And then then you go to like the boost era, and like technically the first boost game is Sonic Rush, but if we want to get into like 3D, it's definitely Sonic Unleashed, which we had the Werehog. And some people, I like the werehog. I don't
What's
know
the
why.
werehog?
The werehog is
It
essentially.
sounds like the Batmobile, like of Sonic.
The werehog is basically a. So at night he turns into a werewolf. That was the concept of that game.
Oh yeah. I think I've
And-
seen footage of that. Yeah.
And people like instantly jumped on the hate wagon because it wasn't.
Yeah,
Sonic.
it was like
It was the
combat
beat 'em up.
focused, and you're not like running around basically.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what it
was
looks like.
it was like they're like, oh, it's stupid. It's a stupid concept. It's stupid, and
Hey,
it's like,
just-
okay,
Just
why
to
is it bad?
mention, by the way, somebody in
And all
chat-
they can say is it's stupid.
Oh wait, you guys.
So
can you
the
guys hear
same
me?
thing goes for Sonic and the Black Knight. Sonic wielding
no.
a sword, that's stupid. I'm like, really? I think that's cool as fuck. What are you talking
I
about?
don't think they can hear me. Too.
That's stupid. That's a
Why is
pretty.
everything going wrong,
you know,
man?
It's
Everything.
about as
Hit it-
equivalent as people saying, oh, Shadow holding guns, that's stupid. And I'm like, no, it's silly and I love it. Like,
How
Right.
do I talk?
Yeah.
and it works well in mechanics. Like the mechanics all work well. The werehog especially is really good at this. And people go, some people who are like really into action games go, oh, it's bad because it's like baby's first beat 'em up, baby's first hack and
Hold on.
slash, whatever. And I'm just like,
Gotta go into the controls.
this is a Sonic game, bro. Like,
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I see you
Because
guys
It's
in
gotta be
chat, but
accessible. You can't have
everything is
like.
going wrong for me. And
I mean,
don't
it's a
know
Sonic
why.
game, so it has to be.
it's not even
fun.
like dedicated to combat entirely.
Yeah.
It's only
Yeah.
part of the game. And also, like, if the combat was as complex as something such as Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or another action title, the fucking kids would cut and run and be like, this is way too difficult. Like, it's a Sonic game. It's literally
Yeah.
marketed towards children, and you're acting like it's supposed to be like Dark Souls. Like,
Yo,
chill the fuck
Splinter.
out.
Oh,
Hi,
you
Splinter.
can hear me?
Now we can
Hear
hear
you
you.
now.
Oh, thank the Lord. Okay. By the way, somebody commented literally a few minutes ago that the Werehog game is literally like if DmC met Sonic, so you were right on that regard. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. It's not supposed to be a complicated game. It's a fucking Sonic game. It's not supposed to be complex when it comes to combat.
Okay, but we gotta hear, like, what do you think of the new and old, not old, but like the recent Frontiers stuff? What you've seen?
So, I like the open world.
Mhm.
The open world is looking a lot better. When it first was shown,
Yeah.
when it first was shown, it was like, okay, I can see improvement here in the future, but I don't know. We'll have to see. And then it's like, okay. And then they show it off again, and it's like, okay, that's a lot better.
Gotta get these.
A lot more
diamonds
enemies, a
in
lot
me.
more enemy variety as well. There's a lot more interaction and engagement with the open world now. It's not just some barren wasteland. You don't have pop-ins randomly happening. You have a drop dash. You have an entire moveset now and a skill tree. So like it goes to show when people jump to conclusions and we're like, this game's gonna fucking suck. It's gonna blow. I'm just like, you guys need to chill. This shit is a fucking early ass build. And they're just commenting on the dumbest shit. Like, I can't stand the Sonic fan base sometimes, and that's why I don't really associate with them.
By
But-
the way,
Right.
Sasquatch said liking Shadow the Hedgehog is unfathomably based.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I mean, Shadow the Hedgehog, really, honestly, it's not that bad of a game. It's just annoying because you have to play through it fucking 10 times. Like, it's really not that bad of a game, and the mechanics of it are actually really good. I love the mechanics of the game. It's actually super good. There's
Mhm.
still momentum in there. It's floaty,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah,
there.
speaking of Frontiers specifically, so yes, the earlier footage was very barren, but right now I'm playing Spider-Man and some Batman Arkham stuff, and I realize in those games, if you just have good movement, and even if it's like an empty world, the Spider-Man and Arkham games are not empty, but it's just fun in those games to just move around. And even if you do have an empty world, if Sonic has good movement, which it looks like he does, it can still be pretty fun, I think.
He does in the right hands. So
Exactly. You need
when
to
you're
have
watching
skill.
the game journalists, the IGN game journalists, when you're watching them play the game, it looks sloppy. It looks slow.
All right, just to cut them off real quick, at any point, and I mean at any point, there is a link that I just put in the chat recently. Hold on. Let me put that in real quick. Where you can join us. You can join us at any point and go into the Discord. We're right in VC, and then I will give you the link that we will use to respond to this or whatever, and then you can come and join us whenever you want. Anyway, back to Percival talking here.
I think it has good stuff going for it, and people are judging it for the wrong crap, and they're praising it for the wrong crap. So,
Cool.
not gonna say my opinion's always right, blah blah blah. But
well, my opinions are always right, of course.
But my opinion about this is fucking right, and you can suck my dick if you don't agree. Oh man.
Anyway, how's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Just fine and dandy. Ready to watch some DmC videos. Jay's reviews. Oh man, I watch his Sonic videos, dude, and some of them are.
Oh, Jay's reviews. Is that whose video we're watching?
Yeah. Well, actually, we have like 3 really short videos. If the stream goes long enough, maybe I'll just do 2.
Okay.
But these are really short videos. The Jay's reviews part is only like 11 minutes. Hero's video is only 8 minutes, and Gaming Brits video is like 8 minutes or 7 minutes. So they're really short and sweet. So we should be able to get through this pretty quickly, and then we can like chat and do whatever afterwards. So
is there a watch party or something I can watch this through?
Yes. I just hold on.
Where are you posting? In general?
Hold on, give me a second. I suck. All right, it's gonna be in voice text.
Epic.
All right.
There it is. Okay. Let's do Percival. Join room.
DmC 4 and Reboot review. Why is he doing these two together? Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty odd choice in itself. Like, what?
To be fair, Special Edition and Definitive Edition came out together.
Yeah, they came out in the same year. I think the Definitive Edition came out first, and then Special Edition, if I remember correctly.
In fact, I went to, when I was doing research, even the trailer for DE teased at the end of it that Virgil was going to be in.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, it's just a little weird to review these two since these games are not. They're kind of they're not that similar. Like 4 and the reboot are pretty different, substantially. But I mean, I guess at the base of things, you could say they're similar, but really not. I don't know. It's. Bleh.
I mean, you can. There are things you can compare between. I've never
watched a DmC review from Jay's reviews because I've never cared to. I've always watched him for his Sonic stuff, and Sonic stuff's not terrible, but it's like, I don't know. It's meh.
You just like put it on and go to sleep. Is that the kind of content that he makes? I don't know.
My Sonic, the guy I listen to for Sonic reviews and whatnot and opinions is a complete nobody, a complete uncut gem. Like nobody knows who he is.
Who is he? Now you can't. You're leaving us in suspense, my guy.
Her name, his name. Did I say her name? Jesus. His name is Pariah. That's Pariah, and I think it's 695. The numbers in there. He is a super small YouTuber, and he He's reviewing the Sonic games in order that they came out, which is really, really cool. He's even doing some of the smaller sort of spin-off games, like the Sonic Advance games, which were on the Game Boy Advance.
I think I played one of those.
And he just talks about them and their core mechanics and the time attack aspect, which I feel like is something that a lot of people don't do with Sonic games, which is ironic considering the entire game is dedicated to time attacking. But he actually talks about the advanced experience. But he doesn't talk about speedrunning, because speedrunning is different. Speedrunning requires glitches, skips, etc., etc. He's all about just time attacking because he doesn't care to learn speedrunning. So he is very, very good to listen to. And it's a series called Sonic Was Always Good. And it's kind of a funny title, but it's actually a very, very entertaining series, and I would definitely recommend it. He also does some of the lore too. He reviews some of the stories for Sonic, which I don't really give
Sonic lore.
I don't really give a shit, but I mean, it's something cool. I've listened to a couple videos about it, and he literally convinced me that Shadow the Hedgehog story isn't even that bad, which is fucking hilarious. I'm like, how do you do that? That game is 10 fucking endings, and the way he convinced me is, one, the Japanese translation, because the English translation is fucking terrible, okay? You literally have lines like, I'll give you an example. Shadow, we're headed to the Ark, so I guess that means we're going too. No fucking way, Sonic. I never would have guessed, bro. Holy shit. Like, whereas you go to the Japanese translation and it's like, everybody's going to the Ark, so that means we should go too. Like, it's crazy how better it is. I'm like, wow. And also the fact that he points out that it's like, guys, it's so silly that it's good. That's what makes it good. I'm like, yeah, actually true. Anyway, I'm ready.
All right, you guys ready? You pumped?
Yeah, let's
go.
The thing about these videos is that I pretty much watched all of them, so I have like a good
okay.
I know some highlights that I know are gonna touch a few buttons for us in particular. I know Oh man, he says a lot of dumb stuff in 11 minutes.
I like how you called me in here because he's talking about my baby, my DmC4, dude. It's my baby.
Are we skipping to the reboot part of his review, or just?
Yeah, we're skipping to the reboot part of the video.
That's perfectly fine too, because I like the reboot. Pretty opinionated on that as well.
Nice.
So,
all right then, let's get started.
So now we can discuss DmC, Devil May Cry, or just DmC for short. Ignoring the fact that this was one of the worst titles I've ever heard in a video game, I never bothered playing this one till right now. I mean, I've owned it for a few months, but I never cared to play it, so now I have the perfect excuse to do so. As is probably obvious by this point, this game is one of the most controversial pre-releases a video game has ever seen. I don't really care to go too in-depth on this, but basically DmC4 did not sell as well as Capcom had hoped, so they decided to radically change the series with Western developer Ninja Theory at the helm. Fans hated the new take on Dante from day one, and the developers childishly continued to strike back against the fan base, which just makes no sense.
Not in a million years.
All that achieves is stoking the flame. Eventually, the game hit store.
Okay, so I want to pause for two reasons. One, there's a slight echo. Just to, I think that's on your side, Percival, right?
Yeah, I could mute myself while we're watching it.
All right, that sounds good.
I could do push to talk. I've never done push to talk.
I love push to talk. Push to talk is what I'm using right now.
Yeah, I think it's just because. Wait, can I adjust my own volume? I can. We're good.
All right, good. But the second thing I want to mention is the fact that, like, the whole idea that Ninja Theory was just childishly responding back to the criticisms. Well,
yeah, I don't recall that ever happening. I mean,
yeah, like they it's hard to, like, of course they're gonna respond to the criticism. They've been working on the game for like more than 2 years at this rate, you know. They want to work on something that they're proud of and what they want to work on, and then the next second they get like death threats and send all kinds of other dumb shit and criticism their way just for just for creating this game, even though a lot of the choices ended up being Capcom in the end anyway. So
Right. I was gonna say, why would you go after Ninja Theory when they were probably specifically told to, oh, DMC4 didn't sell as well as we wanted. We need something different. We need you to mix it up. We need you to change Dante. And that's probably why we got what we got. And it was like, okay, why are we going ballistic over this when they were specifically told to literally change the character probably for, probably the time era or, whatever is hip nowadays, that kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. In fact, their first creation or the concept art originally, according to Matt Muscle's video, apparently they made like a Dante that was very close to the original with the red jacket and the black shirt and everything. But but they came back with a completely different design with smoking Dante and the flaps and everything, right?
Dude, honestly, I love smoking Dante.
Smoking Dante. Okay, smoking Dante is pretty cool. We should. I don't think he's like the end all be all because at the end of the day, he didn't get a game about him. But I like smoking Dante to a degree. That's why
I like the idea of fucking Dante having a cigarette. It's just cool.
Smoking kills, guys. Disclaimer.
It does.
Dude.
We should.
I gotta ask. When did this review come out?
This came out recently, like I think 2020 or 2021. I think 2021 though.
So starting the review for the reboot with discussing the controversy, and this is not even day one controversy. This is pre-release controversy, like 2 years before release, like when they showed the footage off, and everyone was just going like, "What the fuck? Why are we getting a reboot?" Blah blah blah. This happened before the controversy started, way before release.
Facts.
So okay, that's fine. The history of the game pre-release, if you want to get into that, that's fine. But you're setting the tone for the review as if, it's the fans hated it day one. I mean, it's not. Let's get to the substance of the actual review. Why is he just discussing controversy that's not related to the actual game?
Yeah, it reminds me of Manga Carmine's video on it. Remember where we went over that and how he just like spent like half of the video just completely talking about the controversy,
Yeah, it's like they got no substance, so they just want to talk about the controversy. So
that is their substance. That's the thing. That's what they think is substance. So that's what they're using against this game when really you need to be talking about what's important, not some controversy that happened in E3 2011 or 10 or whatever. Like
yeah, and if it's a recent review, like stop it. It's like fucking 10 years old history now. Like why are we just stuck on that shit? Like let's get on, man.
I cannot tell you how many casual fans I've ran into who go, you remember when that reboot came out and Dante had the black hair and he smoked cigarettes and he had sex with girls and he drank? You remember that? Huh?
Yeah, and it's like, and they get like emotionally offended that happened, and even though like now it's kind of like we're back to the OG series and that doesn't even matter anymore, they're still kind of in their head. It still haunts them somehow.
You know what?
It haunts them like a spooky nightmare. God damn.
What needs to haunt them even more? Fucking DMC 2. So whenever somebody goes, remember when the reboot came out and it was that bad? I go, you remember when DMC 2 came out and it was fucking ass? Yeah, I remember that too, dude.
DMC 2. What a great game, guys. Come on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, pretty good.
All right, let's continue further.
Show 13, but it was remastered for the PlayStation 4. Obviously, the version I'm going to look at, it's 60 FPS. An action game was released on PlayStation 3 in 2013 with 30 FPS. A damn joke when DMC 4 pulled off 60 in 2008. But enough delay. DMC Devil May Cry. The story is still the most hated.
Arkham City music, cool. I like that.
Arkham City has some banger tracks.
Didn't the reboot run on a different engine And
yes.
then
Okay.
Unreal
like
Engine.
the
All right.
fucking DMC4 is on the MT framework engine, which is like extremely easy to have performance on. Like
Yep,
this
that's
is
true.
going for an entirely different aesthetic and something that is far more demanding than DMC4 was. So
I mean, I will agree that for an action game, you should prioritize 60 FPS, but in retrospect, it's aged better because now that we have modern hardware, we can run it at higher frame rates and whatnot.
yeah,
Yes, if you were living in 2013 and you had an Xbox 360 or a PS3, yes, that sucks. I completely agree. But this is a present day review. Come on, let's get on with the times.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's funny because like when Heavenly Sword came out, their previous work, it was at 30 frames per second, nobody cared. Then they worked on Enslaved Odyssey to the West, they put in 30 frames per second, nobody cares. But when it's DMC, when DMC4 gets 60,
I mean,
it reaches a lot of critical eye, mostly because it was working on the Unreal Engine 3, I believe. So
yeah. I mean, to be fair, those Enslaved and those games were, they weren't, AAA titles like the reboot. They were more like slightly indie, double A-ish titles. They weren't at the level of Devil May Cry, so it's understandable, I think.
yeah.
Thing about I completely agree. The basic run, Mundus wants to find and kill Dante, but Dante is first found by Cat, who brings him to the Order, led by Dante's brother Virgin, as
Why
they
is he
work together to
saying
stop
Dante?
Mundus, who is defeated.
I don't know, man. We
why
live in.
is he, God damn it.
It's every video now.
That pisses me off more than anything in this video so far. Dante. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, get used to that.
Start calling fucking regular fucking original DMC Dante.
Dante. That sounds like a weird pizza shop. God damn. All right. Anyway, let's continue.
And then Virgin wants to take over the world himself, gets beat, and then leaves the
my
DLC packs as we
Virgin!
wait for the sequel that never came. So right off the bat, the story is already extremely dry and predictable from the very beginning. I mean, for some reason, now Sparta is not the amazing devil hunter that defeated the demon hordes dozens of times. He was instead captured and tortured for all eternity, as his wife is an angel and not a human. With this new Dante and new Virgil being half angels, half demons, and that's the only thing that you need to kill a demon, I guess. But other than that, there really aren't that many surprises in this story. Since Mundus is evil, he gets beat. Anything he says to make himself seem less evil are worthless, since the heroes don't really care. Virgil...
By the way, that kind of description can work against any other DMC game. Like, it can be said about DMC3, DMC4, or... What did you say, Percival?
Isn't that literally like what he described is almost the plot of DMC1?
Yes, basically.
Like, that's... What? How is that bad? How is that even a bad point? I don't get that. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get why he's trying to shame this story when it's doing the exact same things that DMC1 has, and you're not shitting on that title either. Like,
nope, there's always a sense of favoritism.
Well, they're always like, well, it's more edgy, therefore it's bad, and I'm just like, edgy doesn't equal bad, bro. Like, it's... okay.
edgy is just a tone. Let's get it through their heads. They'll learn eventually.
Yeah, edgy is a tone, and it's a beautiful tone when it's done right. And I think in DMC, it's done perfectly fine.
Yep.
Exactly.
I think it's done fine.
Virgil is, of course, the final boss, since it's a DMC reboot with Virgil in it. Of course, he's the final boss. Such a lame and obvious play from the start. I really had low expectations going into this scene, so that means I could be pleasantly surprised, like in this one part where Cat gets shot and captured. That was actually a good scene, but it's pretty rare form for this game's otherwise abysmal story. The basic story is boring and predictable enough, but the actual writing is where this completely falls flat in its face. They wanted to make Dante as edgy and badass as possible, so every good thing about his character from the previous games is pretty much gone. Dante has gone from being witty and fun-loving to being a sarcastic douchebag. For that reason, he's not entertaining to watch, he's just annoying. Like how he at first thinks the Cat and Virgil are spouting nonsense when he meets them, but this is only because of the fact that he is a douche, and that's the douchey thing to do.
Okay, I think that... I know. This basically comes down to the fact that he doesn't understand that this is a part of an arc, which we'll get to that later. That this is entirely because... Besides, the whole backstory of Dante in this game is that he was tortured at a young age. he was in an orphanage, and then turns out to all be demons. And according to Bob Barbas, he was even joining gangs in his teens, right? This is a Dante that's been through a lot, even through poverty, and he had to survive through all of it. So of course this Dante, with nothing to live for, with no hope, is a bit of a douche. Of course.
Yeah, and throughout the game you see parts of him, of his past, and the things that he's gone through. It develops through the story of the game. And it's not like, oh, he's just a douche and he ends up as a douche. There is an arc, as you said. So if you're not paying attention, yeah, you can say he's a douche, but you're not paying attention. And this is a review. You should be paying attention to what you're reviewing, right? So
it's literally the entire point of his arc is that he is developing into a hero-esque character and is able to learn from his mistakes and also give hope in people again. That's the entire point. Like, to just say that he's a douche is tells me that you're blind to the story, and also tells me you didn't really play DMC 3, because Dante kind of a douche at the start, and then at the end he actually is like, yeah, actually, I do have a father, and I do acknowledge him. Because at the start, he's like, I don't have a father. Like, he doesn't want anything to do with it. It's a similar thing to this game. Like...
And by the way, just to mention this, Sasquatch said, of course DMC5 has Virgil and has the boss. So lame. Like, that's the same idea that he just put out, which is like, oh, he has Virgil here and the DMC reboot. So therefore, the Virgil is lame.
It's predictable, guys. It's predictable and boring.
How boring, man. But DMC5 does the same thing. Do you hear him talk about it? Nope. But yeah. Oh, well.
Trying to make him edgy, this of course leads to him spewing swear word after swear word. Of course, swearing is not something that bothers me personally. I used to do it in my videos all the time. However, again, there is no wit or creativity here. Dante just swears at the enemy in a really cringeworthy fashion.
Who invited you, fat ass?
You okay? That looked pretty nasty.
That? Nah, that was just a big fat joke. So you must be the secret ingredient.
Yeah, the big fat joke line had no curse words in it. And and he's saying it's a curse word. What?
I fucking love all of Dante's insults and quirky jokes in this game. Okay? I fucking love them. And I think they're so entertaining, and it fits the character perfectly, dude. It's beautiful. I love it. Like, let's not give shit to the cringeworthy lines in the original Dante. No, that's
yeah. I
perfectly
mean,
fine.
if you have like a certain perspective, you think the original Dante is very, very cringy. If you have that perspective, but if you are there to enjoy it, take the tone in and take the character in, then you're gonna enjoy it. So it's really a matter of perspective. You just have to adjust to it.
Yep.
That's it.
Like, yeah, I was in middle school when this game came out. I was 14 years old, and I remember I had never played a DMC game in my fucking life, ever. So I had no idea the original DMC even existed. So I went into this completely blind. I played this game, absolutely loved it, and this is what was hip at the time. Literally, rap music about having sex with girls, smoking, drinking, rock music as well, fucking screamo rock in particular as well, and just overall the attitude of basically fuck you was kind of what was in at the time, because I mean, angsty teen years, am I right? And so like, this was really, really cool to me.
Yeah, this Jay guy must have been like a big nerd.
Yeah, no, that was kind of the mentality of 2013. And
Wait, did you just call him a nerd?
Yeah.
Good for you. I agree. Anyway, Celeste says, man, these criticisms don't know how to analyze a character's tone. Exactly.
No, they don't. They don't. And it's not just even when the story is now considered out of time, because this isn't really the attitude and whatnot in the story is, I wouldn't say is really what's hip anymore in modern day, but it's still a good character arc. I still find it entertaining.
Yep. I agree.
Who are you?
your prom date, you ugly sack of shit.
Fuck you!
Fuck you!
Fuck you!
And I got a bigger dick.
For the most part, the voice
That
acting
shit
is
was
pretty
funny.
average, but Dante is just so bad. I mean, the lines that were supposed to be emotional would just be better delivered by a plank of wood.
We are brothers, after all.
And he never explains why that's a bad line or why the delivery is bad. Just keep that
It's
in mind.
yeah, no, I've noticed that with a lot of these critics lately is they, and not just with DMC videos, just other games in general, and they say these things and they don't explain why. They just go, it's bad because I say it's bad, therefore it's bad. And what they do is they keep saying that it's bad. They don't give any reason why, and they just keep moving the goalpost.
And they put
And-
like very out of context clips of them, of the characters just
Right.
where you don't understand the scene and you just put a line in and you're like, oh, that's a weird line. I mean, that's what the audience would think if they've never played it. But if you've played the game, you'd see it works.
Right. Exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised if he says that with gameplay too. If he's gonna say some things with gameplay, I can't wait till we get to that.
Oh yeah, he has some words to say about the gameplay.
Oh, fucking bring it on, dude! I will destroy him.
You will destroy him in what? Fencing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
Percival,
right.
I believe in you.
With stylish fencing.
Stylish fencing. You
Yeah.
stab him and then your style meter goes up. Nice.
Yep. Fucking sensational instantly.
Nice.
But the moments, as I just showed, are also really bad. And by the halfway point of the game, the dialogue stops being as cringy as it was at the start, but that isn't because the second half isn't cringy. It's because of the fact that the first half was so bad with it. I mean, the game opens with Dante at some kind of strip club as he then takes two girls back to his trailer where they then have a threesome. As he wakes up completely naked and gets dressed as the camera keeps
Do you not
finding
like
ways
girls,
for his
bro?
crotch to not show. I was already laughing and I'd only been playing for
It's
less
good,
than 10
man.
minutes.
Get your filthy fucking clothes.
So fun.
I think it's just fine. I don't know. This is like in the tone of DMC. It's just a bit.
This guy's a nerd.
This
This
is
guy's
a
a
nerd.
No, I always, whenever somebody brings up this threesome part, I just go, "What? You don't want to have a threesome, girls? You don't think that's cool?
Exactly. See, finally, we're
You
getting
don't
it
like
through.
girls? I mean, come on, bro. Come on, bro. If this was 2013, I would say some other insult, but I can't say that anymore, or else I will get canceled on Twitter.com.
Sasquatch says Dante's being based and he has a problem with it. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. He has a problem with based individuals who have an alpha male demeanor and are very rash about it.
Oh well. Let's continue further.
Cloth.
Like, is there anybody who thought this was unironically cool? That lame old Dante? Also, the ending was so bad. I mean, Mundus gets defeated in an unbelievably anticlimactic final boss fight, but then at the last
Fucking pause
mission,
that. Fucking pause that. The ending was so bad. The ending was so bad, even though it ends exactly like DMC 3.
Yep, you fight the big boss in the second to
I'm
last
gonna
level.
fucking kill somebody. Oh my god. I can't, dude. Continue. Jesus Christ.
Virgil wants to take over the world and is completely shocked that nobody else wants to do the same. Yeah, no build-up, no payoff. Virgil is just like I said, shocked that nobody else wants to take over the world and is defeated by Dante in their first battle. I mean,
Hey guys, so I think he forgot a certain scene where you know he had a sniper rifle. It's all weird. It's all fuzzy to me, but like he fucking blew a baby's brains out and then killed the mother. But guys, there was no build up. You guys don't understand.
Yeah, he totally just decided not to do a fucking redneck abortion. You know, whatever.
And it's like he never even tried to just dispose off of Cat when the headquarters was getting,
Yeah.
raided.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
and we never saw him in
build-up.
combat throughout the whole game, and he's supposed to be a threat when he gets beat the first time. Dante also stands against him, despite not going through an arc at all in the game.
What the fuck? What? Oh my god, please. Dude, you did not play this fucking game. And oh my god.
Yep. This is my favorite part of the video.
This is the guy. This is the guy that says I don't like this game because Dante had black hair. I don't like this game because Virgil
Because sex.
is
Threesome.
is killing babies. I don't like this game because Dante has threesomes. Like,
Oh my god.
give me some fucking substance in your arguments, man. Good lord.
Yeah, but this is what we're dealing with, sadly. This is like 90% of the discourse around DMC Devil May Cry. It's really annoying.
Kind of sad. Wow, it's a lot of brain dead people. Holy shit.
Not liking... Oh, Sasquatch says not liking an arc is one thing, but to say that there isn't one, that's ridiculous. Exactly. Ugh, man, this video.
Do I even need to tell you this has nothing on DMC 3? Where the stakes were so effectively raised with each and every boss fight? I mean, it just looks so effortless when compared to a failure of this magnitude. But honestly, that is really all there is to say on this crappy story. Characters are bland, game is incredibly try-hard with some lame voice acting from Dante, which just makes it an even harder
voice
code.
Can we
Oh my fucking god. You know what? You step in there and you go, fuck you. You tell me that. You step in there and you do that, bro. Like,
okay. With he said about the stakes in DMC 3 and compared to the reboot. So the reboot takes a lot of time building up the entire society of this world.
yeah, exactly.
All of America, like you see Mundus talking to the president of the country, and he's running a bank, and you go to Virility and you see like people drinking this whatever toxic shit. And then there's a lot of world building, whereas DMC 3, it's just fucking Temen Negru and this kind of desolate city, and there's nothing there. So the stakes are really fucking high in the reboot because it's dealing with an entire society. But of course, this guy didn't pay attention to the story at all, or the world at all, so he doesn't even fucking understand what the story's about.
Yeah, I think what people don't like about this game is that it's calling out what our society is doing. And it's pretty simple. It's not hard to depict. It's not hard to decipher what it's trying to say. It's trying to say big corporation that's corrupt is bad. That's kind of an obvious dislike for a lot of society. Be careful what you put in your body because it just might be toxic and you don't know what's in it because it's regulated by people that aren't telling you what's actually in it.
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
The media, you can't trust the media. Doesn't matter what part of it is. Obviously, Bob, whatever the fuck his name is, I've already forgotten his last name, is obviously a depiction. He's a depiction of Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah,
and it's pretty entertaining.
Exactly. I want to fight I've said this before, and I will say it again. I just want to fight a big version of Tucker Carlson. That would be hilarious. I would love to do it.
I would enjoy that. I would enjoy fighting big versions of many of those reporters.
Yeah.
but yeah.
I think so. It's complete horseshit to say that the reboot has no stakes. It's just bullshit.
Right. It's an entire society being.
Yeah, this is like the fate of humanity. In DMC 3, it was like the fate of like, it was the fate of humanity, but kind of differently. You never really saw a lot of people under distress. You didn't have like a whole like organization controlling everything from the shadows. It's different kind of stakes.
Well,
you don't see the society. You don't get a feel for.
It's more of the potential threat. The potential threat that's coming if Virgil becomes a ruler of hell, or if Arkham succeeds and decides to unleash the underworld on the human world. Like, it's the potential threat, not the actual threat that is at hand, that has already happened.
Sasquatch says, of course he can't even give a single positive, even something like the world building, which clearly does something better than DMC 3. Exactly. Goddamn. Alright.
Swallow. The fact that it's not getting a sequel only makes this worse, I might add, as any appeal left here is just not going anywhere, so I couldn't bring myself to care about most of these characters. I mean, we're only really talking about it to begin with since it shares the DMC name, but I would have been lost to the sands of time if it didn't. But to make matters worse, the story is also boring to look at. The game has some of the worst cinematography in the Devil May Cry series. The game used motion capture like the other games, but the camera work is just so uninspired for well over half the cutscenes. It's just A camera, B camera, A cam, B cam, A cam, B cam. Compare this to cutscenes from any other game.
4 different cutscenes.
Yep.
You didn't even give an example. You showed like 4 different cutscenes for that.
And the thing is, here, hold on. Did he use the part in the park? Did he use that part? I zoned out for a second. Did he use that? Because the whole park, like, exposition dump is done with, like graffiti everywhere, right? So it's taking advantage of, like, its camera angles being closer to the characters and use that to, like, tell a story in the background to give, like, a visual stuff that goes along with the audio dialogue. Like,
right.
I will say, like, the cinematography is a bit lacking because, you know, it's mostly a lot of shaky cam and quick zoom-ins. And it can seem a little flat in the real world stuff. But overall, I'd still say it's an okay, like, it's not bad per se. I wouldn't say it's really bad. I'd just say, you know, it's a bit lacking, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I would.
And tell me more about the cinematography in a DMC game. That's what I want to know. Tell me more.
Yeah, clearly. Guys, have you seen DMC? See, he's showing DMC 1. Clearly, it has better cinematography, guys. Clearly.
Hard. Yeah, right.
In the series, and you'll know what I'm talking about. There's hardly any action in cutscenes.
Yeah, you'll know
Dante's
what I'm talking
office
about.
from DMC 3, scaling down the tower, scaling up the tower, fighting Virgil, killing the Despair Embodied from DMC 2, Dante challenging the Savior from DMC.
Okay, for the record, DMC 2 Dante literally does not much throughout the game. Like, literally, demon will spawn right.
Character.
Yes, a demon will literally spawn right in front of him, and he'll just say nothing.
Yeah.
He's
a boring character.
Yeah, boring. Oh god, the cinematography is great. The world building has potential, art direction, etc. I wonder if they played the same game. Yes, Celeste, I agree. I think he picked up the wrong copy.
He picked up the some dog shit copy or something. He probably bought it from wish.com.
Yeah.
4. This game just doesn't do that. It just feels like I'm watching a really bad Uncharted story play out, not Devil May Cry. With really drab and dry visuals,
What
and the game
what does it have to do with Uncharted? What the? What?
It's a very.
What is he talking about? Oh my god!
It's a very strange comparison. I don't even know what to say to that.
It's this whole narrative in the DMC community that, like, cinematic bad, right? So if there's like a section where you're going through, like, the first level where you're going through and trying to get past everything, they're like, oh, it's Uncharted now. It means that it's cinematic and cinematic bad guys. So it's like, it's so annoying.
And to that I say, is the rest of the game engaging? Do you get your encounters? Do you get your boss fights? Yes? Okay, shut the fuck up then.
Yeah, this isn't a copy of Uncharted. I don't know why he thinks that.
Jesus Christ.
Cover it up by having every level take place in this limbo dimension where the colors are saturated beyond belief. When you look past the abysmal story and the bad presentation of said story, is the game any good? Well, sort of. DMC, especially the version that's 60 FPS, is not a bad action title by any means, when it is an action title. For the first half of the game, I just hated playing it so much. The reason is because this game has this need for platforming. Yeah, platforming in a Devil May Cry. You just want to shoot and slash, but see red hook, use red grapple. See blue hook, use blue grapple. It's just the most boring kind of...
We're not going to talk about DMC4's snatch sections?
Yeah, exactly.
Are we not going to talk about the abysmal DMC3 platforming section where it's a bunch of boxes moving everywhere? I mean, yeah, if you're a skilled player, you can do cool shit like wall run up that and, you know, do some neat platforming, but your first playthrough, you're not going to do that. And just in general, you're not going to want to do that. Like, unless you've been actually dedicated entirely to DMC3, you're probably not going to do that. Just saying.
And these platforming sections in the reboot with the grapple hooks, they actually teach you how to use them in combat as well, because you can actually use it in combat. So it's actually a very, very awesome how it's integrated into platforming and combat.
Well, yeah, it teaches you that you have it, it's in your arsenal, yeah, and the way it's introduced does that. So yeah, you're right, I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. And let's not mention the fact that in DMC3, a vast majority of getting to each combat section is just walking. Like, remember how much of the time it takes just to get to one section of Timmy Grew to the other sections? Like, get this thing. Once you put this thing here, then you have to go down.
Yeah,
Then you go down, walk there.
it's a Resident Evil game when it's not being DMC, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the atmosphere of DMC3, and I love the world of DMC3. I love Tim and Negru. I love the entire game, but I do agree a lot of it is just walk from point A to point B, insert MacGuffin, put MacGuffin inside thingy with no explanation, and then look, you get boss fight, end mission.
Yep.
Or you won't even get a boss fight at all. You just randomly end the mission.
Celeste says platforming in DMC Devil May Cry allowed for exploration, giving us the gravity of the world / setting, plus Devil's due diligence. Yep.
Yep, there's lots of collectibles in this game. A lot more than other titles, that's for sure.
Kind of gameplay imagine. There's hardly any skill with platform, oftentimes with spectacle happening around you, like an Uncharted game. But the worst parts of the game are by far the extended game.
So okay, yeah, I guess what the fuck was it? The fucking DMC4 boss, the fucking huge ass statue. What the fuck is that boss called?
The Pope? I just call him the Pope.
I mean, yeah, I know his name is Sanctus, but I'm trying to remember the name of the giant fucking statue.
Boss.
Basically, the giant statue, that's not a boss fight, bro. That's all spectacle. That entire boss fight is just a
going through jump
mission.
pads.
It's just a glorified mission with some jump pads and fucking spectacle. It's not that entertaining of a boss fight. It's terrible.
Hey guys, just like Sasquatch said, Uncharted created scripted spectacles. See, there was no other game before that had spectacle. It's only Uncharted, guys. Okay.
Totally not like Metal Gear Solid had that or anything.
It's almost like he's only ever played Uncharted.
What if we find out that he's actually never played Uncharted? Like, he just makes these comparisons because he saw somebody play it once, and he's like, yep, it's Uncharted.
If he does a Last of Us review, and if he fucking glorifies it, I'm gonna laugh my ass off and be like, wow, okay. Because a lot of that stuff is spectacle.
Yeah.
Gameplay cutscenes where characters are just talking as we have to hold on the analog stick. It's just so boring. Like, nobody cares. Nobody likes sequences like this in video games. If you want to have cutscenes, have cutscenes. If you want to have gameplay. Don't make the first, 5 minutes of Mission 5 just be running forward, listening to dialogue. By the second half of the game, there was a lot more action in this action game, and I actually enjoyed it a lot more.
That's the point of it.
What?
The point of it is that it forces you to be engaged with the story while also playing the game. It's not meant to make you watch cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. Okay, if it wanted to be a Metal Gear game where it wanted to have 15-20-minute cutscenes, it would do that, but that's boring in an action game.
And specifically for that,
Metal Gear Rising doesn't even have 20-minute cutscenes. I think the longest cutscene is Monsoon's part, and that's it, and that's a multitude of cutscenes, and it's trying to keep you engaged.
I want to
so
say
you're not falling
specifically
asleep.
for that Mission 5 section where you walk through that hallway. You walk back through Limbo. So that gives you a perspective of the real world and Limbo. So it's actually a pretty cool section. Yes, in the beginning it's kind of boring. You're walking through this just barren hallway. But it's pretty cool when you actually play through Limbo and go through those same hallways again and you see how it morphs and everything.
Yeah.
So there is a reason why that section is there.
It's world building. It's
Yeah,
literally
it's
the
world
entire point of it. It's world building. It's to give you an idea of the atmosphere, how different it is to see the world through the real world lens, and then the
But
fucking
it is
Limbo
good.
lens. What's up, Heise?
But it is good. I mean, do you think that world building is good?
Yes,
Yeah.
world building is important in terms of story elements. I'm not too big of a story buff when it comes to games usually. I've always been a big gameplay buff, but if we're going to talk about story, we're going to talk about the elements that are important.
I say, you want to join us in the watch
know
along
what you
thingy?
What you are watching?
It's in the we're watching some
Voice text.
DMC reboot
Check
videos.
the voice text channel.
on
Check
there.
the voice text channel. There's a link there.
Mhm.
Just click on that.
Anyway, but yeah, I can agree that like the walking sections aren't necessarily like the best part of the game, but I don't like there isn't like the game is if it wants to tell you information and it needs your attention, then it's kind of entitled to it. And throughout that scene, we're basically seeing what Kat's past is like. We get to understand that this is the nightmares, how Virgil saved her. There's a lot of information given in that one walking section.
Yeah.
But then again, it isn't the greatest thing ever. I'm not going to say that either. So walking sections, I can see why Sasquatch and others don't like it. I completely get it. So all right, let's continue.
This combat just has nothing on DMC 3 and DMC 4, but for what it's worth, I wasn't not enjoying myself while slaying the enemies, since we can still use the stinger, the trillion stab, juggling enemies in the air with your swords or your guns. It's pretty alright in that department. So just know this, if you pick up this game, you can expect an at best decent Devil May Cry, especially by the second half. But it's for that reason that I don't really need to focus on what this game does well, since it's been done before and done better. So for that reason, I just want to focus on the new elements just to not repeat myself. But this is where the criticisms come in, mostly with the control layout. Launching enemies off the ground is now done with the circle button, as dodging is set to the L1 button. Personally, I found this to be way more buttons than they really needed, since I had no problem with the way it played before. Where things start getting annoying when you start...
Okay, let me remind people, for the 100th millionth time, this is not Bayonetta. You can change your controls at any point in time. I don't even have Demon and Angel on like the two triggers. I have one on the bumper and one on the left trigger, right? Like you can go as wild as you want to. You can even switch the Rainstorm, which like originally was A and X, and you can switch that to like an individual button prompt. Like the controls here can do whatever you want,
Not only that, I don't know why he's talking about. There's more buttons here than there needs to be to launch an enemy when it's the press of a single button.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, I love the OG series, but I think this is actually better. Just speaking about button layout, I actually think I prefer the reboot, just in terms of button layout and certain commands.
I'm a DMC4 guy, so I always vouch for 4, but I do like the control scheme of the reboot. I don't look at it any lesser than DMC4's layout whatsoever. There's some things I like about it too. I like the simplicity of pressing a button to launch an enemy instead of direction, lock on, and then press.
Direction, lock on, and it's like camera perspective and the enemy's position. You're like doing fucking insane calculations just to launch an enemy.
DMC4, I've never really had camera problems with it necessarily when it comes to doing combat in Bloody Palace and some of the sections of the game itself. But like DMC5, I've had multiple problems with it. DMC3 kind of just has an auto camera that's pretty good, so I've never really had problems with DMC3 either.
But
I mean, I feel like the camera didn't really get truly bad until DMC5, and the reboot's camera is great too. I love the reboot's camera. Perfectly fine.
Yep, and DMC5 it has a lot of weird spasms for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, and people want to defend it, be like, "Oh, just don't change your field of view." I'm like, okay, so we're just not gonna change a feature that was meant for convenience. Okay.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, the reboot actually innovated a lot in actually retaining so much of Dante's moveset, but actually making his controls simpler. Because it's insane how complex DMC3 and DMC4, because they were the games before. And we're not going to talk about DMC5, because that was after the reboot. But DMC3 and DMC4 Dante is very complex. And actually retaining
style switch Dante from 3, because if you're talking vanilla Dante, it's style 1.
Sure, he's not one style, but if you think about, like, he has different builds, you can take different weapons and have a different style, etc. So even if you don't consider style switching, he is pretty complex. But if you do consider style switching, he's very, very complex. and of course DMC4 has style switching. And taking all that into account and actually working a different control scheme is a huge task, and they actually accomplished it, I think. I don't think he's as complex as DMC4 Dante, but he is definitely getting there. So I think it's a huge achievement with what they did with the control scheme of Reboot. I have the exact opposite opinion of this guy.
Yeah, I don't. Truthfully, I don't think any character is gonna really touch DMC4 Dante in terms of complexity as of yet. I would say the closest is probably Reboot Dante on some occasions, and probably 5 Nero. And 5 Nero can be somewhat complex when you add in the Devil Breaker switcher and whatnot. You don't limit his gameplay. He can be pretty complex. Reboot Virgil's Doppelganger can be pretty complex as well. 5 Virgil's Doppelganger is not that complex. I don't know. But then again, you don't really see many people who are showing the true complexity of it. I just don't like dealing with AI like that, but
Sasquatch said some of these criticisms you can easily apply to the other games, so hopefully he's consistent with them. That's the thing, he isn't. A lot of these reviewers, when they make like control problems, they don't apply it to the other games as well, and it just never happens.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the controls are good. It was simplified as a necessity because there's no more style. It's like combining two in 3 at least, because there's no Royal Guard because it's changed to a parry. But why?
Yeah, I agree. There's no Royal Guard, but you have Trickster, essentially. You have Gunslinger with what do you call it? With the gun special button.
yeah, that's
You mean Rainstorm?
And
Rainstorm.
yeah, Rainstorm. The gun special input, basically. That's your Gunslinger button.
You have Rainstorm, you have Fireworks, you've got just about everything you need.
I love canceling with Fireworks. It's so much fun, dude.
Yes, it's very entertaining.
Yeah, and of course you have Swordmaster.
Alternate weapons. Using blue weapons requires you hold down L2, and red weapons require you hold down R2. Locking on is still done by holding R1, so you have to hold down 2 trigger buttons at the same time while using the face buttons to attack. This is what I mean.
Good.
It's a really clumsy system.
So we can confirm he did not modify his controls at all. He just did the vanilla thing of being, whatever the game gives me, I'll just use that control scheme. He did not touch his controls at all. Just confirming that. That's it.
Yeah.
System that makes combat with the extra weapons extremely unsatisfying. I genuinely don't know what was wrong with pressing the L2 and R2 buttons once to switch weapons and guns was, but I can tell you that I don't like this arrangement they had.
Footage.
Oh, he uses DMC2 footage all the time. I have no idea why.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's
he lost while using DMC2 footage.
It's literally the least credible game you could possibly put in there.
No, you see, later on in the video, he says that we've never had a bad DMC game.
Oh my
Oh my.
we're not there yet. But...
Get onto the video. Let me at him.
DMC. Combos with the 2 axe weapons are also not that fun to use anyway, with the fist attacks being my least favorite version of that in the series, which mostly stems from the controls, but even then the combo pool is limited when compared to the last 2 games, which is just an inherent downgrade, and that goes for every weapon in the game. The PS4 version promotes having rebalanced gameplay from the original.
Why would you bring up the fucking shotgun for that point? If that's such a it's a limited moveset, why would you bring up the shotgun? Everybody knows the firearms are way more limited than the actual devil arms. Like, have you not played a DMC game, bro? It's almost like you haven't. You're playing that wish.com shit. I don't fucking know what game you're playing, but I seem to recall firearms having a way more limited moveset, and using that as a point is actually really, really poor on your part, because if you go to fucking Osiris, you go to Aquila, you go to Erix, you go to Arbiter, you go to fucking Rebellion, all of them have fat move pulls. So I don't want to hear it.
And you can switch all 5 melee weapons on the fly.
Yes.
That was unheard of until this reboot, and of course DMC5 also has it, but it's fucking beautiful in the reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And didn't DMC4 has it?
Only
So-
three, three melee weapons and three guns. So
Yeah,
not
but
as
at
many.
that time, DMC4 released, right?
Yeah. But it
So,
didn't have as many weapons as this as the
oh yeah,
reboot.
you were referring to
Thank you,
DMC4.
Windows. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Release, and I can only imagine what that means, since already there are issues like blue enemies and red enemies only taking real damage from weapons of the corresponding color, which just limits the amount of creativity that you can put into your combos, hence why the loading screens have to show you how good their combat is.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Can you
guys.
rewind that? Can you please rewind that? I want to listen to that again.
All right.
I just want to listen to that again.
Games, which is just an games, which is just
Those loading screens
an
were
inherent
cool as fuck.
downgrade,
What the
and that goes for every weapon in the game. The PS4 version promotes having rebalanced gameplay from the original release, and I can only imagine what that means, since already there are issues like blue enemies and red enemies only taking real damage from weapons of the corresponding color, which just limits the amount of creativity that you can put into your combos, hence why the loading screens have to show you how good their combat is. In previous DMC games, keeping
Bruh, they show fucking jump cancels in the loading screen, oh my god, it's so fucking cool.
I fucking can't.
They show fucking jump cancels in that shit. When was that ever done in any other DMC game?
But,
oh my
but
god.
guys, when the loading screen and combos, you guys don't understand. It was covering up the color-coded enemies this whole time, guys.
What the fuck?
enemies
People are fucking brain dead. Okay, at least this guy is.
True.
This is actually fine. Plus, correct me if I'm wrong, but if in the DE version, which I haven't played in years, I haven't played DE in years, but weren't the color-coded enemies you were able to actually hit them with other
think
weapons?
not.
Yeah, but they don't stagger though. They don't
They
don't have hit reaction.
Got it.
Yeah,
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the color code enemies, yeah, they're shit. Like, no one is going to come and tell you, no, they're actually good, but calling them
Yeah.
bad is
even if they are bad, there are literally two types of enemies that have color. It's the rages and the knights. That's it. Two enemies. You can't deal with two enemies. Just please stop playing action games.
Celeste
Yes,
said
it's
those
good.
loading screens are visual tips to get good. Yes, exactly. There's nothing. It's not
Precisely.
connected to the color-coded enemies. I don't know why he thought of that.
You want to know
And
something?
bruh,
funny?
if you don't like those loading screen whatever combat little things, oh my god, they're so fucking cool. You have no sense of style. Like you have no sense of what fucking cool is.
Not only that, I mean, literally everything in the fucking loading screens can literally be done in game.
yeah. We
And
don't have minigames
even
because
more.
of Capcom in Namco. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be right
you
back,
have
guys. Give me a second, okay?
Sure.
right, you have DMC5's loading screen going from going to the mission menu has a loading screen. Like DMC5 has stupid loading screens. Like choosing your fucking costume has oh my god, it's so bad. in
Yeah, and
DMC5.
DMC5 to like change different outfits, or dude, you could like sneeze for like half a second and you would get a loading screen after it. It's not fair, man. I don't know why the loading screens take so long. Apparently in SE they fixed a lot of the loading screens, but even then,
Yeah, it's because of the SSD.
really?
Probably optimization of files. I mean, there's two things that the new gen consoles try to sell us, because there's no graphical change whatsoever about nowadays. Everyone knows that. Faster loading screens, because it means that the SSD or whatever it's called is made to be to optimize the loading size, and
Yeah.
then that you can have ray tracing or better graphics at 30 FPS low. All the end console games can have now 60 FPS, and if a PC player if you tell that to a PC player, he's going to fucking laugh, because he's going to be like, shit man, we had those years ago, like it's not even new.
Yeah,
But
you
for
have
a console
fucking
players,
240 hertz monitors playing at
yeah.
fucking, yeah, 240 FPS.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go for like 5 minutes probably. In a second here, so I will be back.
All right, that
All
sounds
right.
good.
Yep.
All right.
So yeah. Mm, So then the games have to be re-optimized because you can now have only well you have now more FPS. That's what they did with DMC4 DMC5 SC. But since we don't have those files in the game, we don't have those optimizations.
Right.
All right, let's continue. Let's continue further on.
How terrible it can be.
In the air via jump canceling took so much time and effort to master in all 4 games, but this game, giving you the grapple hooks that both take enemies to you and take you to the enemies, removes the skill in trying to get to enemies faster to keep the style meter up, and it also removes the skill of keeping them in the air, creating a combat system that just isn't that fun to master, but is pretty simple to get to grips with. When DMC 3 and 4 especially were simple to understand but took a buttload of practice to truly get right. Like I said though, DMC Devil May Cry is not a bad action title, especially when the game becomes more action focused in the second half, but I'm really not interested in giving away free points for creating a decent action title at its core since the genre was so well established at this point. I'm willing to admit that I had fun with DMC Devil May Cry. I mean, it wasn't a terrible game, but as a Devil May Cry game, I just didn't think it met the series' high standards. That is just if we're looking at the gameplay, of course. As I've hammered in, there's fun to be had, and I totally recommend playing it since, like I
Oh yeah, he kind of thinks like this game is good, even though he's been like ragging on the game pretty much the entire time.
The high standards of Devil May Cry, it doesn't meet them at all.
He showed off Bayonetta, cool. He showed off Metal Gear Rising. I think this is way better than Metal Gear Rising in terms of actual combat depth and whatnot. Metal Gear Rising is cool, but it's no DMC reboot.
Exactly. I think I went over this in my section that I'm currently working on, but it's Metal Gear Rising has some really good parts, but the thing is that like parts of the game are just unfinished. Like there's literally like a weapon that just pulls you to enemies, and that's all it does. Versus in DMC Devil May Cry, that's literally the basic necessity of what it has. You know.
Yeah, the secondary weapons in Rising are kind of lacking.
Jesus. I'll be back. I'm gonna get back to that point on Metal Gear Rising later and explain why DMC and Metal Gear Rising are not even comparable, because they're not, and I don't know why people think they are. It's kind of silly. Anyway, I'll be back.
All right.
They have similarities because of simplified controls and that shit.
I mean, they're in the action genre, so you can say you can compare them roughly in a general sense, but
Yeah, but Metal Gear Rising relies more on simple tech that has medium hard execution and
yeah,
relies, and then it goes to harder difficulties and tells you here the basic mechanic, the parry, use it as most as you can because it's the most powerful shit you're going to have in the game. That what makes it fun, and that what happens with Sam with the rage taunt. But in DMC, Don't May Cry, you have more tools. It tells you in harder difficulties to actually learn how to use the enemy's difficult things.
yeah. I think the reboot has more tools, more freedom, more ways to express yourselves in combat, and I think also has more interesting variety of enemies and more encounters where you have different combination of enemies than anything in Metal Gear Rising.
I mean, uh, freedom is met not only about the tools, the amount of tools, it's about the quality of the tools.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
I mean, if the tools were bad, it couldn't mean shit. The amount it could be in jack shit.
Yeah.
But it relies how much you play in a competitive way Metal Gear Rising because I only use the basic sword because I like the basic sword. Then in DMC I have to use any weapon because I like how to make explosions.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish this last of the video.
All right.
Like I said in the always find conclusions and answers for yourself. I did not know what I was going to think of DmC Devil May Cry when I put it in the system, and I got an alright experience with numerous flaws like poor platforming, easy boss fights, bad balancing, and a truly atrocious storyline and cinematography. But it's not the worst game ever made, meaning that up to this point, I don't actually think there's been a bad Devil May Cry game. That's worthy of praise. But having said that, there hasn't been a perfect Devil May Cry either. Something has always held this franchise back, and I'm hoping that Devil May Cry 5 can finally give us that perfect action game that we know the series is capable of delivering. Especially now that the real Dante is back at the helm with the whole edgy phase done and over with. So that concludes my combo review of DMC 4 and DMC Devil May Cry.
He's gonna call
DMC
5 the perfect DMC game, isn't he? He's gonna do it, right?
I'm pretty sure he has a video basically just saying that, yeah.
Yeah.
DMC5 has issues that everyone has been telling people about it.
Yeah. I mean, I love DMC5, but I think as time went on and I've, gotten a little bit of distance from the game, I think the reboot is overall a better game. It's got a better story, more I mean, of course, this guy's gonna disagree because he hasn't even understood the story, but it's got a better story. Its combat is more focused, I think, because first of all, it's just one character and you don't have fucking V and even Nero, and you're splitting the campaign with 3 different characters, etc. And I don't know, it's got an actual Virgil campaign, Virgil focused enemies, different enemies for Virgil. And I don't know, it's just got a better focus, I think, in the reboot. Combat, story, everything, presentation. The only thing I would give DMC5 is that you can play DMC5 Dante, which is pretty fucking sick. But with what? Fucking 8 or 9 missions.
Yeah. I mean, probably the issue with the Virgil campaign is what happens now with DMC5 Special Edition, that you will lock, it was happens with also Metal Gear Rising, you will lock a character into a single
Ordinary
place,
cat litter
and if
stinks.
that place
It's dusty,
is
heavy, and
involving or
downright
you want
gross.
it
Martha
to
Stewart, what do
the
you
other
think?
campaign, then you're fucked. Because in the Devil May Cry, you have the mods, but how much mods can fix a Unreal Engine 3 character that it's locked in a different package file?
Right.
I mean, Devil May Cry is also locked in a pack file, but it's not a Unity pack file. Unreal pack file is like already engine pack file.
All right, I'm getting the next one set up, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know much about modding or anything, but it's telling that you have to mod a lot of stuff in DMC5 for it to be enjoyable, whereas Definitive Edition just has a lot of good stuff as it is.
I mean, it's
You don't
not
have to mod
about
it.
being enjoyable. The game alone, the vanilla part is enjoyable because DMC, the PC version, it's also terrible because the lack of turbo and the mod that we have actually about turbo is also bad. Virgil is locked in another campaign. We don't have a lot of the Definitive Edition content. Something that, unlike Devil May Cry 5, that what we have locked turbo, that we have it already, and LDK that Hitch already made a mod that it's probably better than the original Legendary Dark Knights. But again, the vanilla of 5 is fun. This is not like you're going to be bored about it. It's just that if you want to improve more about it, you probably could get bored compared to the other games like Devil May Cry 3 or Devil May Cry 4.
Right. So I would say that DMC5 has its stock version, not the modded content. Mod content is fucking awesome. That's great. But just like the actual stock game that you have on PS5 or Xbox Series, like the Special Edition or PS4, that great game. DMC5 is great, but I think it has more weaknesses, like with, Dante having like less than 10 missions, 3 different characters through, a very compressed story and whatnot, than the reboot, which has better focus, I think a better story. And yeah, it does a lot of things better, I think. So that is
Alrighty.
from a
Yeah.
perspective of someone who's actually fucking played the games and who's paid attention. Because this guy clearly hasn't paid attention to the reboot at all.
All right.
And
By the way,
yeah,
I linked the new one. This one is going to be about Hero. We're taking a trip way back in time here and talking about this video. This video was released, get this, even before the video game came out.
How did you find this? What the fuck?
What do you mean? It was, I don't know. I didn't have to look that hard to find it, but
I mean, it's on YouTube.
I mean, if it's like before the release, that must be like a 10-year-old video. That's why.
pretty much, yeah.
There's older videos, probably the cat videos also old as fuck. Old as fuck.
Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of DMC videos. I haven't. I've known about Jay. I haven't watched the video, but I've not known about Jay's reviews. But this one, I have no idea.
All right, so are you all in? I see one of you guys.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
But you can call me Dante the Demon Killer. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think?
There hasn't been a more controversial character redesign in recent memory than Ninja Theory's interpretation of Dante in their new Devil May Cry game. Most discussion surrounding the character is dominated by the idea that the character is bad because he doesn't look like the original. While it is true that this new Dante looks radically different from the original, that isn't the only problem with him by a long shot. Nearly everything about his character is just bad, regardless of whether you're comparing him to the original Dante or looking at him as his own entity. First, we need to address that while the creative director of the game, Tamim, claimed to not care what fans thought of his version of Dante, there have still been many dramatic changes to his character to make him more like the original.
Just hold on a second.
What first?
Splinter, is this before? Did this video come out before the release? Because he's showing gameplay after release.
Yeah, I
like
know. That's the funny thing about this is that he got footage. You'll see later on where the footage is more like trailer edited. But apparently they released a lot of interesting footage before the game came out. So he's using that footage, and you'll see later on and what I mean by that.
But this video that we're watching right now, this was actually published before the game's release.
Yeah, it came out in 2012.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Appeared as a quiet, emotionally unstable smoker is now a wisecracking womanizer who hasn't even been seen touching a cigarette. In theory, this is a good thing. Giving him some of the defining aspects of the original Dante's personality should redeem him at least somewhat in the eyes of the fans. But these traits don't work when applied to this character, and in the end, a lot of it comes across as poorly thought out pandering.
So, let me make this clear. They make a version that they don't like. So they're like, okay, so you want it more like this version. So they give them that version, then they go, well, that's pandering, you see. It's annoying.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to make a point, but I fundamentally disagree that you can even say something is a bad character, or when the game isn't even out yet and you haven't even experienced the story. So I would say it's cool to watch it and dissect what he's gonna say now, but there's no point to this video at today, like watching it today after the video's out. So yeah, we can shit on this fucking asshole. That's completely fine. But to even make this video makes no sense. Like back in 2012, before the game's release, like why would you make a video about a character when you haven't even played the game? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Hold on, I think Hollow's... I want Hollow to get a chance to get in here, because Hollow just arrived, so... Well, he's not in here just yet, but...
Alright, you want to restart the video with Hollow back
No, he
in?
can just jump into where we are right now.
All right. I mean, we're just like what a minute in. We can restart it if you'd like.
Yeah, this is just a short video. I think it works though. So.
All right. Okay. Is it joining in?
Okay, Hollow's gonna be joining any second now.
All right.
All right, I have returned. I apologize for that.
Oh, nice. We got Percival here too. Finally, we get the gang back together.
Yeah, sorry.
Welcome back.
Grandma came by, gave her birthday present, and I ate lunch.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
done.
you did a lot in a short period of time. Oh my god.
Hey man, if I want to get shit done, I get it done.
All right.
Hey.
Hey, Hollow, how you doing?
Yo, welcome.
I just woke up. I'm so sorry.
It's
the boy.
It's okay.
It's the boy, the reboot player, the reboot Virgil. Very nice.
All right. So, by the way,
that is this Hollow, right? I'm not tripping, right?
I mean, basically,
Back
kind
the
of.
fucking.
Anyway,
He's still waking up.
yeah, I figured. It's okay. All right.
All right. By the way, so in the text channel, you will see the new one that we're watching. We're watching the second video right now. We're only a minute in, so you guys can join in. So, the background for this video is that he's basically explaining why DmC Devil May Cry's Dante is a bad character, even though this game came out in 2012 and is a year before the actual game released. So
This video came out in 2012, like a year before the release. In 2013.
For the fucking release?
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
I-
That's fucking pathetic.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wait, this Jay's reviews video?
No,
This is
Hollow.
another video.
I mean, not
we're
Hollow,
done with
Hero.
we're done with Jay's reviews.
I was gonna say.
Go to the voice text channel. You can see the new link.
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess okay. I don't know what the fuck happened. Anyway.
I'm loading it up on my computer right now.
All right.
Okay, I'm here. Oh, it's this video. I love this video because of how bad it is. Yeah, I fucking enjoy this video.
You enjoy bad things. I've noticed that.
I enjoy bad things because I enjoy shit talking on them and completely telling them your points are stupid and they're bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody in?
Yeah.
All right. Let's continue.
Though his model has been changed slightly, his design is inherently the same, so he feels torn between
Yeah,
Hello?
there's a
Yeah,
bit of
yeah,
echo.
I was like, whoa, it's hella loud.
Is that from Hollow?
Did I push the off?
Yeah.
So sorry.
Parents made for one character and a personality made for another. They don't go well
to this character,
made
and in
for
the
each
end,
other.
a lot of
And
it
now
comes
he feels
across.
like he has no real vision.
Hello. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I'm not pushing anything. It's fucking pausing on its own.
No, it's the echo.
No.
You have a very bad echo.
Bad echo.
Okay.
So I mean, I think Splinter is playing and pausing for all of us. So any one of us can play and pause it. I think Splinter is doing it for us. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought it up on my computer, so let me go back to my phone and see if it's better if I do that.
All right.
I think it's funny that Hollow's like half asleep and we're just
I
asking
know.
him.
I know, right? My first guess that he wasn't half asleep is that he's on drugs. which is the I would like to see the second one just out of interest.
Oh my god.
Okay, am I echoing?
I don't
No,
know.
it's like when we play the video echoes with. Do you understand?
Either
I
Like,
can
use
mute
headphones.
myself.
Yeah, either get headphones on or like push to talk. I do push to talk personally and
Okay.
headphones. So
behind
okay, do you want to play, Splinter?
behind him. Behind him. Even then, his personality is too oppressive and sour to fit the character he's trying to be. Characters like this are so endearing because they're fun to watch and listen to. But anytime the new Dante tries to
What?
do something cool or say something
Character
clever,
is
it comes
trying to
across as
be.
mean-spirited and as a result, off-putting.
yeah, guys, because the previous Dante has never been mean-spirited or any of the other DMC characters.
Well, more importantly, this isn't trying to be the original Dante. So that point is completely invalid. I don't know why he's trying to say, oh, he's trying to be original Dante. No. It's a reboot, bud. He's not trying to be the original Dante. That's the point of a reboot.
Exactly.
Like it has to be different. It has to stem from somewhere differently. Like,
It'll kill you.
That was a good movement.
Your prime date, you ugly sack of shit.
The problem isn't just that he's unlikable. There are many characters out there that are great because of their unlikability. I do a series filled with them. The problem is that he's attempting to be liked while being unbearable. He actually reminds me a lot of Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes. Except Travis is supposed to be this bombastic idiot trying really hard to emulate the cool characters that he's a fan of. And New Dante is actually intended to be cool. They've put a lot of effort in.
What? Travis Touchdown was also intended to be cool. What the fuck is your point? What? What if they didn't want him to be cool? Okay, all right. God, this guy has not listened to much Stan Lee, has he? When it comes to fucking, I know you're like, what? What does Stan Lee have to do with it? Well, if you ever hear Stan Lee talk, and he talks about who he wants to win in a fight, his ideology of that is whatever the fucking writer wants. Okay? In this case, it's the same thing. If the writer wants the character to be cool, he's gonna intentionally make them be cool. Oh, they just accidentally wrote him to be cool. They just accidentally wrote Travis Touchdown to be cool. No, they intentionally wrote him to be that way. That doesn't make sense. You don't accidentally write a character like that. You don't. You intentionally write them like that because that's what's cool to the writer.
Some fucking characters are trash.
That's actually funny. Holy shit, dude.
I want to point out something too. I think that it's kind of weird to say how unlikable this character is without seeing their entire arc and their way they're supposed to be likable. A lot of this stuff is really near the beginning of the game. I'd also say that like even the original Dante, there's a point to be made about how he always kind of gives everyone the cold shoulder even though he actually cares. It's kind of the same with this Dante, just to more of a degree, because I'd argue that the world that he lives in is harsher on him, therefore he's a harsher person. But the whole point of Dante is that he's gonna tell you that he's not gonna help you and he's just gonna act all cool and shit, but in the end he does care, like no matter what version of Dante.
Right.
Exactly.
Into trying to make him appeal to fans of the original Dante, and not just by revamping his personality. Take his Devil Trigger form, for example. Instead of giving him something unique, they recolored his hair and jacket to look like the original Dante's. They could have given him something really cool, and it might have been the bright side to an otherwise bad character, but they decided to throw that potential away for this. I'm sure this drastic character
But it's fucking cool. Bro. It was, oh my god. Like, visually it looks fucking cool. And I know like hardcore mode is just like it changes it, but I think it's really cool that he's so OP in his like Devil Trigger form that everything just floats in the air. Like it gives like a different flavor to who he is and his DT form. And it also, obviously, if you know the ending of the game, it kind of hints at what his potential is. So it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a cute reference. It's like, hey, here's the red jacket and the original white hair. And again, we see that this ties into the end of the game, because at the end of the game he gets the white hair. It's all to set up for the arc,
Exactly. Yeah.
On the writers.
I also think that people really focus a lot on the visual design instead of it in actual functionality, but it functions different than the original Devil Trigger, and it has a completely different like gameplay style. And I think that that's, some people don't like it, sure, but I think that it's at least worth mentioning if you're going to bring it up, because it's not just them not being creative, because the way that they were creative is in how it works and how it is ingrained into the story rather than just its visual design. But people a lot of times either just want to focus on the visual design or just excuse it as bad, which is really weird.
Yeah, and if you're gonna make a video about this before the game comes out and you haven't even played it, then you're just being a dum-dum.
I mean, there's, of course, if you watch the game, the promotionals is a way to like see what is the future of the game. It happened with Saint Rose, and everyone say, no, this is going to flop, and it ended up going to flop.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, it should be taken as it's it's understandable that you can complain, but it can't be seen as a full opinion unless the game is actually out. And if the game is bad, then well, fuck, you were right, and if it's good, then well, you were wrong.
Sasquatch says, why is Dante fighting Raiden? Okay, so you have to understand.
Battle Royale.
This is PlayStation Battle Royale. It's a very strange game. Has anybody even played that game?
Yeah, it's a flop.
Really?
Have.
It's not that. It's meh.
I mean,
like it's fun for a little bit, and then it just kind of like, okay.
I watched like YouTube videos of the banter. That's it.
Yeah, some of the banter between the characters is kind of silly, but like some of the those intros, some of those intros are just god awful looking. They're just not that good looking. Some of them are funny though.
Yeah, it's a PS3 game, I guess. So,
but yeah, Reboot Dante and PlayStation All Stars is like really subtle. It's almost like more post game Dante, which is kind of interesting. He's like really subtle, kind of quiet, not so fuck you and rash. He's more he feels more like a hero, if you will, which is interesting. I don't know.
He's a lot more akin to his original version. Like if you mixed the original Dante and Reboot Dante, as he is in his game together.
Go for yeah, basically.
Through a loop. Now they have to adapt to his new characterization and quickly come up with a bunch of one-liners to sprinkle around in the game. And it shows. The quality of writing here is awful at times.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck
you! Always goes to that example.
Will anybody ever explain? No.
It always goes to that example, and it's like, okay, like I get it. There's not much like substance here, but like that's how humans are. Are you kidding me? People say fuck you all the time to each other, and then it's just a big fuck you screaming match. Like,
I mean, it could be worse. It could be Forspoken, or the High of Life game that we have nowadays. That it sounds like a funny Marvel writer that doesn't know how the fuck humans talk.
I'm seeing freaking dragons. And I can fly now. Yeah, that's the thing that's actual dialogue.
Stop. That was so cringe. I was like, what am I listening to?
Oh, have you seen the High on Life trailer? The one that is made by the same voice actor.
Guys, don't make fun of Forspoken. It's gonna come out. The story is gonna be amazing. The character development is gonna be amazing. She's gonna have an amazing arc, and everyone's gonna shit on us.
I'm gonna blow my brains out if I hear that again.
I mean, I could take it off if it was like DmC Dante, but that game, no, it just sounds like a Marvel Quick. And then you have Hide on Life. It just looks worse.
Yeah.
It's such an ignorant view of what being cool is.
Well, that's the point of the character arc.
You're not on the list.
Best part in the game.
Yep, this was a good moment.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Some of this stuff doesn't even make sense.
What? What? Is DMC supposed to make sense? It does. What? The game doesn't make, none of those games make sense. Are you kidding me? You're literally a fucking devil hunting company. Good lord.
Oh no, wait! You got to see the example that he uses.
I don't remember eating pizza and being fit is something that makes sense in the real world.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I am now.
Some of this stuff doesn't even make sense.
Poor mother. I don't know my mother, but if you're calling me a son of a bitch, you wouldn't be the first.
I'm actually surprised.
So, let's piece together like detectives here, okay? What was wrong about that statement?
Literally nothing.
I'm assuming that it's the whole whore mother, if you're calling me a son of a bitch, but it's an insult to her, and if you're insulting her, then you wouldn't be the first person to insult me, is what I'm assuming. Like, I don't think this person's making much sense.
Yeah. That's kind of why I can't really understand. Like, I'm just like, wait, huh? I don't know why he even used that as an example.
Sasquatch says lady jumping 30 feet on a motorbike after killing Cerberus in DMC 3 makes sense. Oh shit. Sasquatch says lady jumping 30 feet on a motorbike after killing Cerberus in DMC 3 makes sense. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Dante also literally fucking riding up the side of a goddamn castle on a motorcycle and then literally flipping upside down. Yeah, that makes sense.
Then he uses the bike as a nunchuck. So.
And then he also flips upward with upward momentum after being upside down.
Hey, listen, have you ever tried it? No, so you don't know.
Oh,
that's a fair point.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go try that now just because.
You can't. You've never defied physics. It's like yeah. Yeah.
Surprised the dialogue is so bad. These are the same people who made King Bohan, and I think his dialogue is brilliant. I wouldn't have as much of a problem with Dante's lines if he didn't read all of them with this obnoxious slur.
There are demons everywhere, in every level of society, in every part of the world. Count them. Ebony, Ivory, I miss you girls.
The original Dante was clean-cut and sharp, and this was reflected in nearly every aspect of his character. Yet he still had a great sense of humor.
Have you played DMC 3? He was not clean-cut and sharp. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't get that. The dude literally was like, father, I don't have any father.
Like he comes out of the shower and he gets impaled by a billion fucking I don't know sides. Is that clean cut and sharp? I don't know.
Not to mention clean cut and sharp. The point of DMC 3 is to show that he's young, and if you notice, every time he tries to do something cool, every time he fucks up in some way.
Yeah, and this reboot is also a young Dante.
It's
the same thing.
When he puts on his jacket in a stylish way, right? He sneezes and his entire fucking shop fucking collapses, right? I know it's like silly, but it happens. When he's running down the side of Tema Negru and he shoots outward and jumps off of it, he gets eaten by a Leviathan. Now people might say, "Oh, that was his point. That was the entire idea. He was trying to get eaten by a Leviathan." I don't think so. I think it was entirely done by accident.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When the bike, when he rides up the side with the bike and he kills all those demons and then he lands perfectly expecting nothing to happen, the fucking bike blows up in his hand and he's just like, oh, shit. All right. It's like, yeah.
That even referencing his voice specifically, it's very strange because what Ninja Theory has done is really grounded him in his background. And I think that the fact that he talks with a slur is more suiting for this character and how he doesn't really have any incentive to be clean cut and sharp because all of his life has been him living in a trailer, oftentimes associating with gangs and not having any sort of education or anything like that. And I think that that's relatively fitting towards him, and it still gives him some kind of character, and it represents that, and it's good for that character and what they did. And it's a slight bit different, sure, but it has a meaning for existing. And I think it's more subjective than an actual criticism as to why the character's bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
And the ability to make fun of himself. That level of style yet approachability is what made him such a fun character to play as and watch. Sloppy would be the best word to describe this new Dante. Just look at the way he animates, talks, and dresses. It all comes across as sloppy, and I guess that's what they're going for. He's supposed to be cool because of how unengaged he is, but he just comes across as dirty and lazy.
Picked a bad day for a hangover.
Ninja Theory decided to take the series in a weird direction with this game. Its story is now a social commentary, all about how the government is evil and everyone is brainwashed by the media.
Based.
Yeah.
This is not different from nowadays, but I mean, it could be, the issue could be how the message is done, but it's not that bad done.
Even then, like, according to Tanim, it's literally supposed to be a grotesque satire that appeals to the youth. What is wrong in it existing as that? There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Dante is characterized as this guy who can see the world for how horrible it is. The guy who's right and you should agree with. He's an edgy rebel against society who hates the government because it's run by demons who want to false advertise cheeseburgers to people.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't say that you have to agree or disagree. He's just like a rebel who's just, I don't know, living and having sex with fucking random people. You don't have to agree with it.
It's literally
just
a rebel without a cause. That's literally his entire arc.
Yeah, you don't have to agree with it. It's just the game telling Dante's story. You don't have to be Dante. You don't have to be fucking whatever.
Well,
like,
let me re-say that. He starts off as a rebel without a cause, and then he begins to realize his cause for rebelling. If that makes
right.
sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And just like Sasquatch says, we can apply the same criticism to GTA. Like, that's a parody on the American dream. Does that mean it's bad? No. You know, it's just a concept and like a caricature of what they want to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was playing GTA the other day, and you see fucking billboards with, like, old-ass hookers that have, like, super, like, saggy tits and shit, and it's just, like, making fun of them. It's like, that's incredibly immature. Like, sorry, I just wanted to use an example. It's just really weird.
Exactly.
Naturally, he's teamed up with This World's Anonymous to take down Fox News and their giant evil Bill O'Reilly face. He was apparently tortured by demons as a child growing up in an orphanage, but wouldn't it make more sense for someone who grew up with that kind of trauma to act like this, rather than this? Ninja Theory was apparently chosen to make this game because of how...
He's trying to compare the fact that how emo Dante should be, like, because of his traumatized backstory, he should be more like emo Dante instead of the Dante that we got in the final game.
Okay. Whatever. So,
I think
let me guess, before I showed up here, I assume he talked about the controversy before it came out, right?
I mean, so I think so this is during the controversy time, like, because this is like a year before release. So this is in the era of the controversy. So he's not.
Wow.
So this video is like a year before release.
Wow.
So he's not like saying, oh, during the time of the controversy, because this is during the time of the controversy.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yep. And even earlier on in the video, he said that since the change of emo Dante to new Dante, he says that Oh man, I just had a brain fart. God damn it, I hate it when that happens. He says, oh yeah, he says that it's pandering. He says that it's completely pandering, that they change it to look more like older Dante. Like he just like Sasquatch said, she's like flopping on different points.
Except he doesn't look like him at all. But okay.
How amazing their writing is.
I also think. Sorry. I also think that like. It's really strange because it's implied that very emo version of Dante is still in his past, and a lot of the things, if you actually play the game, are very clear signs, especially in like his body language and the things that he says and the way that he's portrayed, show that he is actually someone who has been scarred because of his past, and there are certain defenses that he has because of that. But because you didn't play the game, and because you made this video joining a bandwagon to shit on this game that you haven't actually played before it even came out, you think that this is a bad character when you haven't even seen the whole as to why this character acts this way and his vulnerable moments. He is an incredibly vulnerable character if you pay attention, but you wouldn't know that because you only played the demo and you watched some trailers, which is really frustrating.
Yeah, I think the only difference is that his body language is a little bit different. Like he doesn't stoop so much, and he's not smoking. I think that's the only difference from like that original smoking Dante version, I think. But otherwise, he's pretty much the same.
This is coming across as something you would read in a bad fan fiction. It's definitely not living up to their goal of matching the standards of film and literature.
Dante, that's madness. You would risk the future of mankind for a girl.
Cat put herself through hell to protect us.
We'll do it your way.
Maybe I would.
What is bad about that scene, guys?
I don't get what's bad about that scene because
I've seen so many movies do shit like that too.
It's literally an evolution of the character, so I don't get what's bad about that.
Anime woman.
Why does DMC have to be compared to film and literature when no other DMC games ever have to like live up to those weird standards?
I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking say it. I'm gonna say it. That's it. I'm gonna say it. If you're a fan of DMC for its lore and its story, get better taste. Because it's not that good. It's not meant for that. Okay? That is not even close to the highlight of the game series. It's literally all gameplay. And if this is your favorite story ever, you need better taste, bro. You got dog shit taste. I said it.
Man, great. Now there's gonna be some very mean comments at me.
Good. Fuck them.
Someone figured out how.
I also think that like
this is a channel. Wrong one. Sorry.
Is he in two channels at once? Anyway, continue, Hollow.
For one, the entire point of that is something that you would understand more. Like this really did come out before this person played the game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. It's really weird to say that because the whole point of it is about your care for the individual person and how that reflects how you care about a whole group of people, and how Virgil cannot empathize with Kat in any capacity, despite the fact that she is useful and she is putting everything on the line for them. That's the whole point of the game. And it's really weird because being like you'd risk the whole of humanity for a girl, well, yeah, that's been the plot of a lot of movies and a lot of shows. I would risk my life and the world's life for this one person. We're going to find another way to get around this. We're going to find another way. That is an arc that has been done so many times. To say that it is straight out of a fan fiction is very strange because you don't even know what is happening to lead to this point. You're grabbing a line from the game without knowing why it's taking place in the first place and then saying that it's bad, which is completely taking it out of context. And I also agree with Percival or whoever was speaking about the lore, especially as individual games. The DMC games do not have that great of stories. They have lovable characters. They're lovable games, and I think they are, to an extent, still lovable stories. But they're not that well written, and on their own, barely anything happens per DMC game, and the pacing in them is oftentimes atrocious. Just saying.
Yeah, it's not meant to be this huge lore-heavy game series with loads and loads of substance and lore that you can just absorb. Like, it's not Metal Gear Solid. It's not, which I mean is still very expansive and convoluted in itself and isn't really written well anymore, but I'm just going to put that out there. It's just,
by the way, Dark, the reason why
there's a
Virgil
lot
was
more
willing to
substance
throw
in Metal Gear
Cat
Solid
under the
because
bus
it's
was
meant
the
to
fact
be
that
a more story-driven, lore-heavy
hold on,
game,
first.
whereas
Sorry,
this
I'm
is
trying-
just meant to
trying to
entertain
concentrate
you
and talk at the same
and get
time.
you
But
the
the reason
love
why
of the
he did that
universe
was
and the
because he
characters that
wanted
it
to take
has
advantage of her.
and enjoy it.
He
It's
saw
not meant
great
to.
potential of her when he originally
Yeah,
saved her.
yeah. The story
And
is like a
then,
vehicle
as soon
for
as, like,
cool
he
situations
didn't
for
need her, he
combat,
just threw her under the
not
bus. It's
not
kind
a
of, like,
story
specific.
for the sake of
Anyway.
the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
for combat.
I'd also like to say, like Sasquatch commenting, saying, unironically, watching these reviews has made me think the game in a better light. That's kind of what I want to be here to, like, prove to everybody, you know? I want to show that this is, like, not the bad game that people think it is, you know? And a lot of these reviewers have, like, awful points, like this video in particular, you know?
I just don't get how they hate this game and yet like DMC 2. I'm like, what?
I've met many of those, but all right.
I've met a lot of those.
Okay.
And they're like, and when I was streaming back when.
Sorry about that. I was trying to talk and, like, do something at the same time. Sorry, my bad.
Put up, and I don't know, he was a very casual DMC fan, and I brought up the reboot and how great it was. And he was like, that game put DMC into the gutter. It's terrible. It's bad. I was like, why is it bad? And his only reasons were Dante has black hair, he doesn't act like the original Dante, and the game sucks. And I'm like, thank you for telling me completely pointless BS, because then I told him DMC 2 sucks ass and it did nothing for the franchise, and it actually probably almost put it under because of how bad that sequel was. And they're lucky they let Itsuno make a prequel. And so then the guy was like, no, DMC 2 was fine. I was like, okay, how? He was like, story's pretty good, gameplay's solid, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you are funny as fuck. You are fucking, wow. You're fucking hilarious. DMC 2 Dante is boring. Lucia is Lucia even a character?
She's hot.
No.
Yep, that's the only thing that matters to Snow.
No, you know what? She's exactly what she is in the story and the lore, a pointless object.
Wow.
Sure.
I mean, you play DMC for the lore?
No. Fuck no. Do I look like I play DMC for the lore? I fucking do gameplay videos, dude. I don't give a shit about the lore. I'm just saying that when people compare Reboot to DMC 2's lore and they go, oh, Reboot's lore is a lot worse than DMC 2's, I'm like, but DMC 2 doesn't really have any substance in its lore. It has, like, no lore whatsoever. Like, at least the Reboot has substance and an idea of what it's going for.
Well, actually, Percival, you see, there's this gaming manual, and in the gaming manual, it tells you the whole story of DMC2, so actually DMC2 is deep.
Yeah, well, that gaming manual can fucking suck my cock. I don't fucking care. That's actually terrible. Jesus Christ. That's like about as bad as when they put fucking Doom lore inside of the fucking collectibles and shit, and you had to
the
read
floating
it.
pages, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's cool, but this isn't okay. I mean, to me, that I'm not even mad at that, to be honest, because at least then it knows that it's a entertainment boomer shooter that has really good gameplay, and that's what it's going for, and it doesn't care about story. You know?
Yeah.
I would rather have that than something that is trying to have substance and has none at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wouldn't have a problem with this remake if it wasn't done in such a disrespectful way. Ninja Theory doesn't like the Devil May Cry series, and they don't respect its legacy. To them, it's just a stupid action franchise with bad characters and a terrible story, which is holding back the medium. They think their Dante's...
Yeah, this is the problem with like a lot of reviewers is that they'll just say, "Oh, therefore Ninja Theory thought that the previous games were bad," even though there's like no quotes proving this. The only quote that they have is that he's not cool anymore. But then again, like all the other Dantes adapt in that same sense anyway. Like to DMC 2 Dante was because they didn't think DMC 1 Dante. DMC 3 Dante was there because they didn't think the previous version was cool, and so on and so forth. Like what cool changes over time, and they're absolutely right about that. But they never said the games suck or that they don't care about the game series. They were like, let's think about it. Ninja Theory were going through a rough time. Like Heavenly Sword and Enslaved Odyssey to the West got really great critical reviews, but didn't sell well, so they were like desperate. And then all of a sudden, Ninja Theory comes out of Capcom comes out of nowhere, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to make the new DMC game," and they were pumped, they were excited, only to have this happen.
Yeah.
Doesn't Itsuno actually like the reboot?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He wanted a sequel to it.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Honestly, part of me feels like this is Itsuno's way of telling us, did you know I had a rebellious phase in my life? Like, that's what I feel like he's telling everybody. Because when he made OG Dante, it is essentially a mirror of his younger self. Like, if you see the way Dante dresses and stuff, it's literally exactly how he dressed in his youth. And so it's kind of like, I wonder if this is him saying, like, yeah, I had a rebellious phase too, and it's really cool. Check it out. Like, I always
and it's pretty obvious like that he likes the reboot when you play DMC 5. There's so many small little touches that carry over from the reboot to DMC 5. Like shifting environments, the obvious thing, the style meter, that kind of stuff.
Also the obvious thing that Nero looks a lot like Reboot Dante.
Dude, funny enough, there's a video out there from Hive Mind saying, actually I don't think it was Hive Minds, but it was a video where somebody compared like the reboot and Nero and said, hey, these kind of characters are similar, and it got a ton of dislikes and a ton of mean comments, even though it's basically the truth.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
They both go for
also
stress.
I also want to point out that, for one, if we're talking about damsel in distresses, by the way, Cat is a character, Kyrie is not. I'm just saying. But also,
facts.
True.
Facts.
Speak, brother.
Preach it.
Yes.
Preach it.
Yes.
What did she do?
Yeah, people will
Thank you.
worship the ground that Kyrie walks on. Like, she has her own sub fandom, which good for her. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying why did people think that Cat is shit when she's had 10 times more screen time and things actually happen in the plot because of her. She has something to say. But during I've seen articles, and I know that at least some of them I could back this up with. There might be one or two that I might not be able to find, so you don't have to take my word for it. But I know that I read articles from Ninja Theory where they talked about how Nero and regular Dante were their influences for this Dante. From what I've heard, they got on this project because they like Devil May Cry, and I've seen articles where they have praised the combat especially, and even then saying if Dante walked into a club today, like Dante in the red, like original Dante, he would get laughed at, which, to be fair, we all know that he looks cool, but in real life, yeah, he would get laughed at, and that's...
Yeah,
but that's...
if they don't know.
If anything, it's not really... It's a statement about how more they want this Dante to fit into a grungy fucking city. And it represents a lot about his character. People think that he looks bad because he looks dirty and lazy, but he's supposed to look dirty and lazy.
Dude, I dress like fucking Reboot Dante. Are you kidding me? I used to style my hair. I used to style my hair just like Reboot Dante. Not even kidding. I still do.
He still looks cool, yeah.
I used to
he looks grungy.
He's supposed to look careless.
Yeah, he lives in an RV having sex with basically, I don't know what the fuck, with strippers and shit, and getting drunk. So of course he's gonna look grungy. And I think why they made that comment about OG Dante being laughed at if he walks into a bar was that you never see OG Dante walk in with a crowd of people, but in this story, the reboot, you do see Dante actually walking into a crowd of people. So I think that's why they had to ground
Even
his
then,
look.
like,
So
he's poor. Even original Dante is poor. Even after he starts Devil May Cry, he barely gets any money, and we know that. But for some reason, he always has like nice clothes and stuff. I'm sorry,
yeah.
but this Dante is poor. His clothes don't get to be nice. He doesn't have that luxury in life, and he hasn't started Devil May Cry either. He has no income. And this is only just rooting back to the original Dante, and in my opinion, being more realistic about what it's like to live in extreme poverty in a demon fucking ridden city. You get what I'm saying? There's also articles where I remember there's a specific article, and I can find this one, where it talks about Ninja Theory and Capcom working together, especially in the gameplay side of things, and how Capcom push Ninja Theory in terms of art direction and story to do their own thing. And the more that they did it like the original, the more Capcom told them to separate it. And there's still several homages to the original in the story anyway. Even all the trophies are named after the original. And but at the same time, they say, like, we wouldn't have gotten this combat if it weren't for Capcom. And here's how they taught us. Here's how the Japanese devs taught us. And they came in, and then the Japanese devs said their part. And they said, like, for a while, it took a bit for Ninja Theory to get used to this. But once they did, it was great because we'd come in a little bit scared, and then our expectations would be blown. We'd be really happy with them. And the only thing that the Japanese devs have done since working with Ninja Theory is praise Ninja Theory. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they were like Ninja Theory originally thought that they were going to do DMC 5 like a straight up sequel. They were not planning to do a reboot. It was Capcom who said, "We want you to do a DMC game." They were like, "Okay, DMC 5." They're like, "No, reboot it." So it's not like they weren't fans of the original. They thought they were going to do the sequel. So there's no such thing as like as if they had some kind of animosity for the originals or anything like that.
God, even if they didn't do the reboot and they did 5, that would have been very cool too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how they would take that, you know.
Yeah.
Is better and that their game is better. I do think this game has some redeeming qualities. Some areas look great and I'm really impressed by the morphing environments. This villain also looks pretty cool. The problem is that these positive aspects are only accessible through a cringeworthy story with an insufferable character as the lead. And the worst part of all of this is that we may never see the original Devil May Cry's world continued. We may never see or play as these characters again, and that's truly sad.
Yikes. Hey Dante,
Hey Dante.
will we meet again?
Fuck you!
Alright,
Well,
that's it. There's one more video, but I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna let us all take a quick break, heal our bones and whatever. And
I'm gonna brew some tea.
Alright, you go make some tea. Alright.
Jesus. That was some shit.
It'll kill you.
Attention.
Cat, they've dragged me into limbo.
What? How? The camera spotted you. They must have been looking out.
Snake eye. What the hell? Nicely done, girls.
There you are.
Here I am.
This isn't good. It's the walls. Get out of here!
Come on!
All right, who's back?
Yay, he's back. I'm back. I never left though. Get fucked.
He's a real gamer. All right, is Hollow back?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Hell yeah, G.
All right, we have the final video. Both Hero and Gaming Bird's video had quite an impact because both of them have over 1 million views, and I think they're worth talking about. There are some videos that have close to that number, which is Angry Joe. Angry Joe has the highest video on the reboot. It's like 5 million views or something.
Oh my god.
But then again, Angry Joe had issues with the characters, but overall he thought the gameplay and story was good. So I was like, I made a response to it in my now, mega long video, but it's his video isn't bad. However, the one video that pretty much catapulted all of the hate towards DMC Devil May Cry, or all the original arguments, came from Gaming Brit. So, as you can see in the little...
Gaming Brit.
Yep, you're right, yep.
Cool.
Alright, so, hold on, give me a second. Alright, hold on. Alrighty. Alright, you guys want to get started?
Did you post the new link for the watch together, or?
No, it's already in the original link. It should be.
Oh. Oh, I don't know. Maybe you just haven't started playing it yet? I'm not sure. Oh, there it goes. Okay, go.
Alright, hold on. Ah, very funny, Snow. Alright, I'll do it. Just give me a second.
So where was I? Oh yeah, the new Devil May Cry game.
So you must be the secret ingredient.
And who the hell are you?
My name, by the way, is Dante.
Nero, buddy, I'm sorry. I take back everything I said. I was wrong. Come back to me, please. We made a mistake. You're not that bad. You're not that bad.
Too late for regrets.
Nero's
oh
a boring
boy,
character
so here we are, the DM.
Yeah, it's funny how people change their tune on Nero.
I don't even like him that
Better
much in 5, to be honest.
He's better in 5, to be honest, but he's a boring character in 4.
He's better, I agree.
Yeah.
But,
I like Nero in both games, but I do think he is better in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even a competition.
I still enjoy him, but yeah, I think he's boring.
DmC reboot. I'm honestly at a bit of a loss here. This has to be one of the most baffling games I've ever played. Hey, you know the most iconic hack and slash franchise of all time? Yeah, the one with the campy story, carefree action, and lovable protagonist? How about we reboot it as a try-hard Orwellian wobfest starring one of the most insufferable, obnoxious douchebags you've ever laid eyes on? Now, you can judge this game on its own merits all you want, and believe me, I will be doing in a bit, but may I first ask why? Why this was done? Because DMC4 was a tad underwhelming? Hey, Earth to Capcom. Nobody thought DMC4 was a little subpar because we didn't enjoy the universe. People found it subpar because you didn't finish it. Anyway, in this game you play as...
Incomplete!
Are you okay, Percival?
People always use that argument. Incomplete! The game's incomplete. I'm just like, yeah, who gives a fuck? My gameplay isn't...
caravan where he takes strippers to have casual sex with. So yeah, before you ask, there isn't actually a Devil May Cry in DMC Devil May Cry. Only lame people run their own businesses. Cool people live like transient hobos. Dante is such an unrelenting ass.
What?
I just want to point out that this is supposed to be a prequel, so it doesn't matter if he has Devil May Cry yet or not.
I know, what the fuck?
Exactly.
It's literally an origin story. What the fuck? DMC3 Dante didn't even have his business fully established yet. What the fuck? He was living like a hobo. Have you not read the manga? That dude lived like shit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Asshole in this game. Now, I'm not against playing as douchebags in video games. Titles like No More Heroes and Ratchet & Clank 1 handle that stuff well. It's when I'm not just expected to think this talking skid mark is a cool guy I should sympathize with, but also that he is somehow an improvement on the Dante of the previous games where problems start arising.
Not in a million years.
Oh, look, Hobo Dante.
Guys, he did the thing.
Oh my god, he did the thing.
He did the thing, guys. Alright.
He said it.
Dante said a naughty word. What a badass.
Fuck you! Fuck you!
Yeah, fuck you.
Dude, I swear, I think that we should make a bingo counter. I think of all of
If
these.
I see someone use this example one more time, I'm gonna fucking shoot my monitor.
No, they use it all the time. We saw it in Mega Carmine's video. We saw it in Sphere Hunter's video. Literally, nearly any other video on DMC Devil May Cry has this. The only one that I can't think of is Angry Joe.
You want to know why everyone uses this clip?
Why?
Because it came out before the actual game, and because everyone decided they hated the game before it actually came out, and then a bunch of influencers shat on the game once it came out, and now a bunch of people won't even play the game because all they do is hear other people's opinions, and they don't even know what happens in the rest of the game.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's so frustrating.
Seriously, some of the stuff that falls out of this guy's mouth would make a primary school bully cringe in embarrassment.
Who invited you, fat ass?
Not to mention how
I would
weirdly
say
he
that to some
pronounces
fat
certain
fuck
things.
trying to fuck me up. Are you kidding?
Yep.
Who invited you, fat fuck? I would say that. Jesus.
Brothers, after all.
The changes made to his backstory make little sense too. Oh, now instead of being the son of a demon and a human, he's the son of a demon and an angel. Because angels are in Devil May Cry now. At least we're told. I don't think I saw any in the actual game. So if this guy wasn't...
What do Angelos represent? What do Angelos represent in DMC4?
Angels.
Yeah.
What do the fallen angels, literally that's what they're called, in DMC3 represent? Fucking fallen angels.
Yeah,
Jesus
but I mean, supposedly that universe doesn't even have angels, but in this one it's much more explicit. So I mean, it does make sense in a way. But yeah, it's a little bit more explicit here because they're going for that angel thing in this story.
He's like, well, apparently angels are in Devil May Cry now. I'm like, I mean, look, I get that the Angelos and the fallen angels are technically demons, but they're reminiscent of angels.
Yeah,
It's not like you haven't seen-
they have an angel-esque design, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, but in this game it's much more explicit. And when he said like, where are the angels in this game, that was supposed to be a part of a real sequel. They had planned for angels to be more prominent in the sequel. So yeah, but we're never gonna get that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I believe the same thing.
They need to do a second game, and then they need to do a fucking Devil May Cry No Way Home.
Oh my god, that would be so fucking sick.
I think it
Holy
would be
shit.
funny if you just hear Reboot Dante go, "Fuck you," and then Dante's just like, "Whoa, bro." Language.
That would be great. That would be great. That would be so good. Dante
That
Way
would be
Home.
good.
Dante Awakens Home.
Oh my god.
No Way Devil May Cry. I don't know.
No Way Cry.
No Way Cry. Yeah.
Unrelatable enough already, he's also not even human anymore. He might as well be an alien for all we care. Okay, the Dante in the previous game was a...
Sorry, I just want to point out that the whole reason that they did the angel and demon thing is because...
To a Western audience.
No, it's not even just that. I mean, I think it fits anyway because this whole thing is based off of like Roman, like Latin fucking mythology, as if that doesn't have to do with fucking angels anyway, so it fits. But also, the whole point is Sparta was this mysterious person who wasn't even a person. He's not human. He's pure demon. And the whole point of the original game is why would Sparta fight for humanity even though he's not one of them? And then we see through Dante's perspective that because he is part human, he teaches Trish, who's not human, why she should care about humanity as well. The whole point of this is Dante, who's not human, but is so ingrained in the human experience and gets to know this one human that instead of turning his back on humanity that's going through the same shit as him, like he does in the beginning of the game, he opens up to them and he's able to empathize with them despite the fact that he's not human. That is the whole point, and it only ties back into the original. You can't say just because Dante isn't technically part human, he's not human in this game, because that's the point of the game. You can still be human in your heart, in your experience, and you can still protect humans as someone who's not human. That's the entire point of Sparta and Trish. Just saying.
And to put this together, the gameplay is supposed to reflect that angel demon, style. Like even from the early, from the early concept art, we can even see like his angel form, which was going to give him like white hair and blues, while the demon form was going to give him blacks and reds. Even from the visual aspect, it's supposed to make a difference. They wanted to do something where it's similar enough to the original game, being like half demon, but it takes its own direction and does something new with it. It's by opening up with Cat that he starts, caring about humanity and becomes the defender of it, even though he's not human himself.
Yeah, and just the concept of a Nephilim. So while I was playing this game, DMC Reboot, I was also playing Darksiders 2. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but
yeah,
a little. Yeah.
You also play a Nephilim in Darksiders, and I think in the reboot, it's a very very cool, unique take of how they make Nephilim, and they also have like the combat integrated with that concept with angel and demon and rebellion. It's very very cool because you actually get to experience that in combat. So it's really nice, I think.
Cartoon was a cartoon character, but he works perfectly as the protagonist that kind of action game needed. He was the carefree hero, the man unaffected by his dark past or troubles, capable of putting a stop to any evildoers in his path. When you played Devil May Cry and the difficulty was putting you on edge and you were on the verge of quitting, you remembered Dante. Would he give up? Would he stop in the face of peril? You can't let Dante down.
Good
because
lord,
no
who
matter
the
what
fuck thinks
stands in
that
his
way?
you can't. Percival, you can't let Dante down. You don't
Who the
understand.
fuck? Who the fuck thinks that way? Dante
Even
won't
then-
give up, so I won't either. What are you, some kind of 12-year-old protagonist? Are you in an anime? Nah, bro. No.
Even then, like, a lot of versions of Dante's, the original Dante does have baggage and it does affect him. It's just, especially in, like, parts of 3, 4, and 5 that he doesn't show it, but I'd argue that he still shows it, especially in 3 and 5. This sort of vulnerability and this sort of like he's carrying a weight on his shoulders that sometimes is too much for him. And then like in the original, like the 1 and 2 and the anime and the books and everything, he really is affected by his past. So like to say that he's unaffected is a bit weird. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why he fights till the end, not for himself, but for his fellow humans. Because as part human himself, he has that humanity that separates him
get
from
real.
his foes, that
Shut
gives
the
him
fuck
the
up.
edge that leads him to victory. We can all see a bit of ourselves in Dante, in his sexy pecs, his chiseled jaw, grisly, manly stuff. So yeah,
Actually,
new
I
Dante's
don't
a
see
cop.
any of myself in Dante. I see more of myself in Reboot Dante. Get fucked.
Moving on. Great combat is what separates the likes of Devil May Cry from the rank and file, and what little enjoyment is derived from DMC's combat can basically be traced back to the mechanics of older games. Does this mean DMC has some pretty good mechanics compared to a lot of hack and slashers today? Well, yeah, on a surface level. No quick time events, emphasis on constant movement and on-the-fly combos and aerial tricks. Problem is that compared to the last 2 Devil May Cry games, it feels like we all just took 5 steps back and then tumbled into a puddle. Let's just run through the controls,
What
shall we?
steps
First of all,
back?
No.
What steps back did it take? DMC3 didn't even have fucking style switching. It's so
DMC
bland.
And
it was supposed
DMC4
to
had
have it.
DMC4 had Nero that was literally made to be beginner friendly.
Also,
I mean,
like,
Fuck, dude.
if you
DMC3
take in-
didn't even have style switching. Okay, DMC4 Nero has a lack of buttons, and to be honest, no offense to my fellow Nero players out there, I fucking love you guys, but I just sometimes get so bored of watching those DMC4 Nero combos because I don't know. It just there's not a whole lot going on with the kit, and it's very basic. And I know it can be complex, and I know there's a lot of technicality with it, and in the movement with Nero, I just don't find it satisfying. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, the design of Nero is lit. I mean, of course, amazing players out there, and you can do a lot of things. But the actual design of Nero was literally to be friendly for beginners. That's it.
Yeah.
I want to point out a couple things too. For one, everyone always wants to compare like the special editions of 4 and 3 to the reboot, but then don't ever want to take into consideration what Definitive Edition did. It's not a part of the conversation because the original was bad. But I'm going to spend most of my time using footage and using references from special editions of 4 and 3, which 3 special edition is at least on the Switch, I believe, is what added the style switching. It didn't even have style switching on the fly and you could play as Virgil and Dante. That's it. DMC4 has the advantage of letting you play as more characters, but that came out after the reboot did. And so you only had Dante and Nero until then in an incomplete game. And I'd argue that this version of Dante has more moves than Nero, probably just as much as 4 Dante, as much as 3 Dante, at least. Like, I get that it gets a little bit complicated with the different styles and stuff, but even then, he's still got a lot up his sleeve, and there's still the entire Virgil segment that you can do in this game. It is just as comparable if you're comparing the base games, and also, I want, like, everyone pay attention to this person's, like, how they're playing, what their health bar looks like, what moves they're doing, because I've seen so many reviewers review this game without even knowing what you can do in it, because they play it once and then they drop it because they didn't pay attention the whole time. But then they're saying, look, you can do this and this and this in the other games. But it's like, because
you played your first playthrough is enough for a review, dude. That's it.
It's like, and it might be for a different game, but if not for Devil May Cry, because you don't get to do your full potential until you played a couple times. That's why it's such a short game.
Yeah,
and
he
so
doesn't even have all his moves.
Yeah, people think that Dante in this game can do less than he can do, and I don't even think that some people realize that you can do combo mats in this game because they don't pay attention enough. And you see it in these people's gameplay because they're shit at the fucking game. Their health bar is only halfway complete, and they don't know what they're doing, and they're not even trying out different things.
Like, they don't have their. He doesn't even have Devil Trigger unlocked. That's it.
That's the most frustrating part for me. That's why, like, when I want to talk about the gameplay, I try and bring up Nyx's document, you know, covering all the facets of the gameplay, every single weapon, going over nearly every single move, to give the most comprehend in-depth, like, type of gameplay analysis I can give to this game, because people just look at it on the surface and go, well, it's not as deep as the other games. Why? I don't know. You know?
There is no longer a lock-on button, so how do you perform directional attacks like the launch move? You know, those things the whole Devil May Cry combat system revolves around. Well, now the launch is mapped to the circle button as its own dedicated move. Oh, so it's a style then. Styles and DMC. That was a good one. So okay, back up a bit. If there is no lock-on, how would...
Sorry. I just want to say that, like, the whole thing about the lock-on movement stuff is that they didn't just discard it, but you play exactly the same as the original games. You have, like, omnidirectional movement in this game. I can stinger any way I fucking want, and I have absolutely used that over and over and over again. Same with, like, the inputs for the other weapons. The tap go, you know, I only use lock-on sometimes, and I'm a definitive edition player because this game made it more accessible to do that. And even then, so what if it has its own fucking button? Now you just tap circle and they're up in the air, and it's still relatively hard to keep them in the air unless you know what you're doing. And even then, like, okay, you locked onto a guy, held back and push triangle. So what? You're only, like, doing, like, 2 more things. Like, it
but it's also
like
yeah, I mean, but I don't think that the old style of, you know, pulling back and, you know, locking on, that's not even a good system to, like, have a very, like, launching is a very simple move in most games, but you have a pretty complex set of you know, actions to do that in DMC. It's not a perfect system. You know, this guy is explaining it as if it is, but it's not. And you see it in, like, more of his reviews. Like, he reviews Ninja Gaiden. I've seen his Ninja Gaiden review, and he's complaining that it doesn't have lock on. Ninja Gaiden would not work without lock on, with lock on. So
Fuck no. Absolutely not. Oh my
so
God.
he's just like, he's got his brain stuck on the DMC lock on as if, like, every action game needs it. It really doesn't. The reboot works perfectly without lock on. If you want lock on, you can play DE if you want it.
I'm also just gonna add, most of the complaints that people have in freestyle is my lock on fucked up. Like, literally, if you listen to a high level player on DMC4 and they're trying to go for a really nice freestyle and just an improvisation, most of the time they're like, my lock on fucked up. And
Yeah,
I find myself doing that too. Because, I mean, DMC 4, it's not that bad, but there are some moments where it's like, fuck, my lock on fucked up. Now, in
Yeah.
DMC 5, it's both my lock on fucked up and my camera fucked up too, because it's about as spastic as a. I probably shouldn't say it, I'll get canceled.
But man, he was about to say some spicy nuclear stuff right there.
But yeah, it's
yeah, the original doesn't have a perfect implementation of lock on. Like people say as if it does, but it doesn't.
Fuck
It
no.
can be frustrating depending on the camera too, because like a lot of people complain about Devil May Cry 5's camera, and I think that's fair enough if it's gonna go out and do its own fucking thing and go into walls and shit. I get that, but like also the original is so frustrating because even depending on where you are in a room can affect what camera angle you're at, and then that affects how your lock-on inputs are going. In this, if you push circle, you're gonna launch that guy. You are guaranteed. In the original, if your camera goes against you, you're fucked over. Sorry, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what skill level you are gonna misinput your launchers and your directional inputs just because of the nature of your input, your actions being related to both your position and your camera and the position of the enemy. There's so many things going on. You are just gonna miss inputs. It doesn't matter what skill level you are.
Yeah, no, I agree. I not really. I like I've ripped into fucking Metal Gear Rising for its camera, 100% every fucking time, and people are like, "Well, what could you possibly rip into that game about?" The entire parry system. I watched a video, and this guy said the parry system and blocking is perfect. It's perfectly fine. It shouldn't be tampered with. I was like, no, it is terrible. It is literally based on your camera. The second you even miss an input against a boss, and say, let's take Monsoon for example. Monsoon has a very quick rush. The entire point of this boss is to teach you need to be fast and consistent with your parrying now. That is the entire point of it. The second that camera even moves a hair is the second you have to change the entire direction of you moving your analog toward the enemy and pressing the light attack button to parry. So if you're facing directly toward him and then he backs you up into a wall and say the camera moves accidentally a little bit to the right, if you don't change that input, you're going to get fucked over real fast. And it's like, why would you base an entire blocking system around a camera? And honestly, my solution for that is make it a single button press. However, you tighten up the window for perfect parries.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Dodge is performed. Well, you see, dodge is now also a dedicated button mapped to R1 and
Perfect.
also L1.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's honestly fine.
Then how do we enter Devil Trigger?
The original also had problems with dodging. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I've been all like, okay, I'm going to the side and dodging. Oh shit, the camera's doing something weird. I'm just jumping into this attack and getting hit anyway. Like, if I want to dodge, I want to dodge, you know?
You know, my first time playing DMC 3 and 4, like ever, before I even wanted to get into advanced gameplay, I did not dodge a single time. You know what I did? I jumped. Because I found out that it had iframes. And I was like, wow, who needs roll dodging? I can just jump on everything. Amazing. And that was it.
And you know the guy who made the system, Hideki Kamiya, like he actually did not put that system in Bayonetta, his next action game. I mean, his the kind of sibling action game to Devil May Cry. He did not have this like camera dependent roll or jump. He ditched it because he was like, that's a weird system to have.
Yeah, dodge offsetting. Dodge offsetting is great in Bayonetta. Dodge offsetting is great in Metal Gear Rising. It's kind of a staple in Platinum games.
And you don't have like that camera dependent. If you're like going forward and back, it's a jump, and if you're going sideways, it's a roll. You don't have that in Bayonetta.
Right.
So because it makes sense, like you don't want to have like two different types of things just dependent on your camera and your enemy position. It's just weird.
by clicking L3 and R3. Wow, I didn't know we were playing the God of Wars. Now, even when the Devil May Cry games were doing odd things, I always felt that there was an effort to move the core gameplay forward, to build on what was previously done. DMC just dilutes it down to its basic mechanics and tries to sell us off some fairly crunchy feeling attack animations. Combat has been simplified to such a degree that the learning curve is basically gone. Moves once reserved for players who took the time
Right,
to
because
learn
you
the
took time
mechanics
to
of the
learn that learning curve, right?
Nope, he didn't.
Yeah, with the
Because you took time, because you're so good that you're making combo mats, because you're so good that you're a part of this community, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and for some people it is really hard, especially if it's their first one in the series. I've seen people struggle to play this game if it's their first one in the series. And I've spent like 100 hours in this game, and I'm still learning things. I'm still trying to put different things together. I still get hit sometimes. It's like, I get that the original release of it was giving out triple S's a bit too easy. I get that, but also there's still so much that you can do to build on top of that that people don't really want to look into.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, honestly, and I'm speaking from experience, going from 4SE to reboot is extremely uncomfortable. And I'm not talking about DE, I'm talking about original reboot PC. It's uncomfortable because I'm sometimes find myself, I'll be holding R1 and I'll be like, oh wait, that's right, there's no lock on. Or say I want to do a stinger. Oh fuck, double tap input. Fuck, I forgot. Like it is uncomfortable. It's not easy. I don't know why like people think it's easy. Yes, I will say it is a little easier to get the core gameplay, to get the basis of what you should be. But if you want to ascend and really master the system, that's where the game gets difficult.
And I have to say, DMC 4, your first playthrough and you pick up Dante, it feels like fucking shit.
Yeah, it feels stiff. It's stiff.
It's not, yeah, it's stiff, but you're also given 4 styles right off the gate. I mean, there's no like learning curve with Dante, especially, at least. There is with Nero, but there's no learning curve with that. It feels like complete god. I mean, he does feel good. Like, if you start learning him, he feels awesome. But in the beginning, there's like no learning curve.
There is a learning curve, but there's no. The game does not start you out good with teaching you what that learning curve is. I think is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, but not just that. I think even when you're done with your first run, like your first, casual playthrough, and you're just playing it for your first run, basically, you're not gonna learn anything about Dante. But this game, I think the reboot does, because first of all, Dante only has like 8 or 9 missions in DMC 4, and on top of that, you're learning all the styles and weapons and whatnot. So, but this game, you have 20 missions. It's all with Dante, and it's giving you all the weapons and all your tools slowly, bit by bit. It's it's accessible, but not in like, oh, it's casual friendly. It's more like you learn it as you should, as a new player should. Doesn't matter what skill level you are. I think it's just got a better skill difficulty curve, I think.
The game are now handed out so easily that any motivation to play quickly disappears. I mean, staying in the air for long periods of time was considered a skilled and rewarding challenge in the previous games.
Yeah, you can do that with Nero. Fuck you.
Easy.
Exactly. You can do that in 5. Man, remember when the DMC community found out that in the beta of DMC 5 you could literally like hook infinitely and then you get an S rank for it? And then the community was like, well, you see, and then they made a ton of excuses for it. That was funny.
I also want to point out that in the rip-off fucking CinemaSins that makes gaming videos, in their fucking video where they're talking about this, they say the same thing, and then it's also the same kind of footage where it's Dante sitting there spamming the same the rake hook up with Osiris over and over and over again, not like, and it's like, yeah, so what? You can sit there and jump cancel super easy in the original series too, once you just get the hang of the same 3 buttons that you need to be pushing.
Like, yeah, I can stay in the air and do fucking nothing. Now do a combo. Now do a fucking combo. Because you can't. You know?
Yeah,
Exactly. They're
with Fort
incapable.
Virgil, I mean, this takes a bit more skill than just jump canceling, but yeah, I can infinitely judgment cut cancel out of a standstill and fucking float upwards slowly and just keep judgment cut canceling infinitely if I really wanted to. It's
And
like
with Nero and Dante, you can still just like, okay, hit the person, take out my gun, jump, or whatever. Like, you're only pushing like 3 buttons. That's the same thing that you're doing here in the reboot.
You wonder if the game is even working properly. And what does this remind you of?
DmC 2.
But you can do that in every game.
That's a funny point. But
it's funny, but you can also do that in literally every other.
Let me tell you. The difference between DmC 2 doing that and how bad it is the fact that your guns juggle them right out of the gate, and in the reboot you can't juggle them with the guns alone. Okay, in DmC 2 it's designed so poorly that out of the gate you can stay at a standstill and just shoot. Okay, in the reboot you have to launch them and just shoot. You can do that in any game. You can do it in 1, you can do it in 2, you can do it in 3, you can do it in 4, and you can do it in 5. So that point is completely invalid.
Yeah.
Also, my biggest issue with 2 is that a lot of the enemies are really hard to get to. So it's either I have to like go through this tedious process of getting my ass over to that guy and like barely be able to hit them, or I could just shoot them and they'll be out of my fucking way. That is one of the biggest issues with 2. The enemies
because Dante can't stinger. He does it like an old man.
It's not just that. So many of them are flying or jumping all over the place. Like, you can't, like, how am I supposed to reach you unless I'm shooting? Like, the enemies are inaccessible in that fucking game. So you spend the entire game doing that. Sure, you could shoot a motherfucker a bunch of times, but it's not going to do anything for your style. It's not going to do anything for you. You could do that in the original. Yeah, it's stupid.
The game performs at 30 frames per second, which for a game about quick reactions and hectic combat is a handicap straight off the bat. DmC 4 came out 5 years ago, and the fact that it runs twice as fast borders on the ludicrous. The game...
I also want to point out, 1, it really doesn't affect it that much. You can tell a difference. I have brought up my Xbox and my PlayStation 4 and played the Xbox version and the PS4 version back to back, and I can tell you that PS4 version does look a lot more beautiful. But I definitely still can react in time, especially on the Xbox, especially if you're playing the original where like you don't have the turbo mode or anything like that. And the style ranking is a little bit easier to get a handle of. It's not that bad. It like people are pretending that like you need to be like within 1 frame perfect of everything, and because it's not the 60 frames, you just can't do it. And it's like, no, you're not even trying to do that in this game, let's be honest. But it's really not that bad of a difference, and they fixed it. And the reason that they did that is because this game has really like interactive environments that are gorgeous, and I think that this game is a lot better looking than 4, and it's a lot more unique than 4, and that's just something that they had to kind of give up to get that result. But even then, they paid it off in Definitive Edition, and it really doesn't look that bad.
And the upside of doing, yes, they've sacrificed the frame rate for visuals, but the upside is that it aged better, I think, visually. So, that's another thing to consider. And I get that. I mean, I think it's valid that an action game shouldn't release at 30 FPS, but nobody talks about how fantastic the PC port was, because you could run it on a toaster and you would run at 120 frames. Back then, not even talking about modern hardware, but back then, like GameSpot was showing off like 120 frames and 240 hertz, and like it was crazy. The PC port was fucking sick, performance-wise. So nobody mentions that.
Man, Sasquatch, if you think these videos are awful, you should see Mega Carmine and Sphere Hunter's video. Oh my god, remember that one show?
I haven't even watched Sphere Hunter's video. I never cared for it.
It's amazing. It's something else. Man.
We were there. We did it.
Yeah, it was, what'd she say? Oh, yeah, all enemies die in 2 hits. 2 strong hits, yep. She said that about the reboot.
What?
Yeah, and she came from the defense of, guys, it would have been a good game if they stuck with emo Dante the entire time.
Guys, make Dante and Cat kiss.
Yeah, I remember that one too. We don't even get to see. Oh yeah, she mentioned the. Oh my God, we need the name of the police to make this story better. It's like what?
The what?
Also, like, how many times have the original series been all like, let's bait you and think that Dante and this random chick are gonna get together, but they're not. Like, Kat and Dante are the closest, other than maybe Trish and Dante in Devil May Cry 1. And, like, I know that when she came out with that video, she has seen, like, Definitive Edition, where he grabs her ass at the end of the game. Like, what do you mean make them kiss? Would you really have cared? Because I feel like if they would have kissed, you would have been all like, okay, but I didn't care about their development, so it's bad, you know? Like, who cares?
All females in Devil May Cry games are bad anyway, aside from their initial game. Like, Trish, irrelevant. Lady is irrelevant now. Lucia was irrelevant right out of the gate. And
Percival, I don't think you understand. You see, we got to see 2 seconds of them naked, so clearly they're a good character.
Yep.
Stop.
That's it.
in 1 and 3, we actually have a character arc with these girls, and they're not just used for sexualization. Every time after that, like, can you tell me a reason that Gloria exists other than, oh, a new lady, we can look at her ass, oh, it was Trish the whole time, like
we have,
who gives a shit?
We have camera angles in that game that literally stare at her boobs.
And then people will come back and be like, I can't stand the way that the reboot treats women, and it's like, have you played the original games?
Yeah, I don't get that. Like, they're strippers. Like, give me a break, bro.
Now runs off the Unreal Engine, which compared to the
demeaning.
previous engine, MT Framework, is a serious step down in this case. Being the Unreal Engine, the game takes an eternity to load, textures pop in constantly, and everything looks washed out and lifeless. Again, DMC 4 was made 5 years ago and still looks better. Aesthetically speaking, the game mostly takes place in an alternate realm called Limbo that constantly blooms intense orange and blue colors at you. Not only does this game look like a crappy movie cover, but the intensity of the colors actually started to cause my eyes to strain at times. Combine that with the wubtastic soundtrack, and I'll admit that I had to put the game down from time to time just to give my senses a rest. And
Guys, you don't understand how hard it is for being a reviewer, okay? You have to play the game, and sometimes you just get tired, guys.
It's also like, 1, you have an option to turn down the music, and strictly the music if it's bothering you. The music's supposed to be loud and in your face because it's Devil May Cry. And 2, I do think, like, after having gone back and playing Lilith's Club, the Devil's Dalliance or whatever, on the older consoles, that one is a little bit too bright, and they luckily turned that down for DE. There's also a moment when you're fighting Virgil in which the screen gets way too bright in, like, either version of the game. If you put on your Devil Trigger, it gets way too white, so I can understand that. But most of the levels still look really good. It's really easy to tell what's going on. It's easy to tell who you're playing, what you're doing as that character, and where they are on the screen at any time. Most of the time, the game actually looks great. And contrasting colors, it's done better than just like your average like Jason Bourne fucking DVD cover or whatever, because a lot of times it's like, here's blue, here's orange, here's the guy. But in this, the entirety of the settings, the buildings, the way that they contrast against the sky, the filters that they put against the sky and the floor, and how Dante, even the lighting that they do on Dante himself is always different to make him stand out in contrast to his surroundings. And I'd argue that saying that it just looks like a basic movie cover is completely ignorant of all of the other things that are happening on the screen and how it makes those colors actually work and pop and give you like an impression.
Yeah, and one really cool thing about this game is that I think of all the games, all the DMC games, this game has the most varied amount of levels and locations.
Definitely.
It's really cool.
Oh, I'm reading Sasquatch's comment here. Reviewer doesn't know how to turn the brightness down or volume down. That's just too hard. You don't understand, Sasquatch. It's hard being a YouTuber when you get paid for this job, man. It really sucks. Like, you have to go into the menu, turn it down, manual. That's too much for him. Come on, you expect too much from him.
Too much brain power.
Yeah.
Your senses will need a rest after hearing this game's awful attempts at narrative. The writing doesn't always sound awful, but when it's awful, it's pretty awful.
I will rip open his chest with my bare hands.
Yeah, man, the writing.
On his beating heart.
And when it's not awful, it's trying to drum up.
That's the awful dialogue that you got from that scene.
What?
And not when Lilith fucking opens her mouth. like I can give you that scene when she's like, "Yo, you're gonna make the world your bitch." Like, that's kind of cringe. But like him saying, "I'm gonna rip open his shit," he's a demon. Like, have you seen some of the dialogue in the older DMC games? Like, it's just like, "I will destroy you because I'm so powerful, Dante." Like, I'm sorry, what? This is your awful dialogue? Like, choose something better.
I wish I could have been the one to fill your dark soul with light.
Classic scene.
Up suspense with an unending cluster of pretentiousness.
To see if you're still sane, or if you could still call yourself human.
I mean, DMC4 could be long-winded at times, but at least it never tried to pass itself off as some sort of societal study of a covert fascist regime. Even when the game is trying to explain simplistic stuff, such as Dante's backstory, it manages to make it less compelling than the older games. Dante's once mysterious past is basically completely explained away in the second chapter, where the once badass deified Sparta is revealed here to be a balding middle-aged man who decided to spend his time running away and hiding from the big bad mean Mundus instead of doing anything about him. Not that confronting...
It was his brother, and he didn't have enough power to take on his brother. Like, that's.
And he has a fucking family, you know.
Yeah, he wanted to take care of his family. He didn't like. There's two differences, but there's major differences between the two Spartas, right? One Sparta was solely there to try and defend humanity and by love and stuff. The one for DMC Devil May Cry is similar to that, but he just wanted to be away. He didn't really care about how humanity functioned. He just wanted to live alone in a life full of isolation. And because of that, he ended up in an eternity of torture,
Not only that, I mean, I don't get why people, like, craze about Sparta being a badass when we don't even see him. Like,
yeah, the most you get is, like, the DMC one, the intro.
Yeah, you get like an intro dialogue about him, and that's pretty much it. The rest, it's like, how is Sparta a badass? You don't even see him do anything.
We see him do like kung fu sword moves.
Oh
in
yeah,
front
that
of a
back
flame once.
that spinning back kick. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kicked that nothing.
I think the reason why the reviewers latch on to Sparta is because like you can fill in the void of what they want. So they have this really great story that they tell themselves, even though it's never delivered in the game, but they have this, outline of a story, and then they fill in the imagination of like, oh, he must have been such a great character and blah, 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 even though we've never seen that, So as soon as that's taken away, they're like, oh, Sparta's bad now, It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think there's a little bit more mystique. I mean, I completely agree with you that they do have that with the original Sparta, where he was so legendary, and we only have this one scene where we can imagine he was like very cool and stuff. But in this one, just the fact that he is maybe alive gives it more urgency to the character. I think Sparta, because he's captured alive.
Yeah. I remember Game Grumps, I think it was. I was watching their little playthrough. This is like a few years ago. And they brought up a funny joke. It was like, wait a minute, Sparta's alive? Why don't they just go find him? I was like, that's so funny. Why didn't I even think about that?
Yeah, so I always thought that, whoa, he's alive. That means something, like for a sequel or something. So it gives the characters some kind of motivation. I don't know, some kind of pull in the story that he might be alive. Whereas in the other games, it's literally just that one scroll through in DMC1. Otherwise, he's not relevant anywhere. So yeah.
Mundus would have been too hard anyway, considering how easy this game is. I played through on the highest available default difficulty, and the game didn't even come close to any of the normal difficulty levels prior games offered. Instead of introducing enemies with, say, interesting maneuvers to outsmart, the game instead cops out and throws a bunch of enemies at you that can only be attacked with certain weapons, limiting your options and turning the game into an utter grind later on, where most of the challenge just comes from acquiring the patience needed to take down the baddies with overly long health bars. Bosses are
Yeah, you can. There's a lot of interesting ways you can take the tyrant down. You can use the ricochet shot. That'll knock it down in its weakness. You can of course use the pull on it. You can also use the reverent bomb. That'll also work. And you can also use kablooey. You can also, when you have that opportunity, you can wail on him just for the sake of it, behind his back. An angel hook up to him and unload damage. There's a lot of interesting stuff you can do with the tyrant, and you can, if you're good enough, you can launch him upwards with Eric's or Osiris, and do some air juggles. Like there's a lot more you can do than what he's talking about on the surface.
Yeah,
I think that a lot of people go in with the perspective of I need to kill one guy at a time, when this game really wants you to be able to, okay, I'm going to go into Eric's, punch this guy, turn around, and then throw Aquila at this guy and make sure he's not hitting me. And then, like, go into the air, bring up a couple guys who are, like, vulnerable to that, and then, like, just wail on them with Rebellion or one of the angel weapons or something, and then, like, finish with, like, if you're getting your style meter up more, obviously, it's going to help you out. And this game really wants you to try and manage under having a lot of people attacking you at once. So it seems like when a lot of people originally play this, they'll fight one guy with one weapon and then go fight the other guy with one weapon, when the whole like learning curve of this game is to get to a point where you can handle a room full of guys while going all throughout your weapons, and it becomes hard after a while. But like, you don't have to just sit there and repeatedly punch the red fucking rage over and over and over again, because there are ways in which you can bounce around and you can make it look cool. And it's definitely a lot better in DE, but it's not as like straightforward as people think that it is. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
are some of the worst offenders of all. In prior games, they served as some of the most entertaining, challenging parts, as they essentially behaved like normal enemies, but with a truckload more moves, forcing the player to perform the skills they learned to the best of their ability. Here, though, the bosses are designed in the most dull and cliché.
Fuck. I don't know if I should say it, man. I partially agree. I don't really like the bosses of the reboot. I think they are a step backward from 4.
Honestly, I think the bosses in DmC Devil May Cry are the weakest part of the game.
Yeah, I don't like them. They are very bland. Like they don't really do anything special. I don't know. Like I play 4's bosses, and 4's bosses are honestly my favorite. I really like DmC 4's bosses a lot. I think it has the best bosses in the series. But that's because they're all interestingly different. Credo is exceptionally good too. Echidna is really neat, even though she can make camera angles really annoying. And Sanctus is really cool too. And the only bad one I would say is the Savior, which is the statue. That's a terrible fight. To me, that's not even a real boss fight. It's just a giant fucking spectacle. QTE. I don't know. It's boring.
Yeah, I would say the reboot bosses are kind of weak. The two bosses that I really like are this one that you see on screen, the first level's boss, and Lilith's kid. That's a fun one. I like that.
I do fight a giant baby.
I like Lilith's kid, and I like Virgil, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Virgil's cool as well. There's just a little bit of jank in the fight.
Yeah, I think he's cool. He gives you a lot of neat movement options.
Yeah.
shade manner possible, simply requiring a certain criteria to be met until you're allowed to wail away at them with no skill required in the equation. And of course, what would a modern boss battle be unless it was sprinkled with countless cutscenes used to break game flow? So, any improvements? Well, platforming. It works now. It's bland, it's very simplistic, but I must say it's probably the thing I most enjoyed out of this game. Just because it was a break from all the monotonous, dull combat. So
What?
DmC Devil May Cry then?
I forgot about that. What?
Dude, oh my fucking god. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, you play on your basic bitch difficulty. What else? I don't know.
Also, like, the original series would be like, hey, go fight this guy. Okay, now walk into these, like, horribly, like, labyrinth-esque rooms and get lost a bunch of times, and then go take this thing and go put it in that other thing. Okay, and now go fight some other guys. Okay, now do this horrible platforming segment, and then go fight these guys, and then go into a different room that you've already been in, and then go fight these guys. Like, I'm sorry, how is this different?
One thing I don't like about original DMC is there's a lot of pointless MacGuffins. A lot of pointless MacGuffins. A whole lot. There's just all these different items that you use in the game, or all these different items that you have to go pick up and put it somewhere to advance the story, or use it as some kind of ability, but they don't actually do anything at all for the game.
Fetch quests over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
It takes the combat system of a great hack-and-slash franchise, dumbs it down, while replacing a once iconic universe with a melodramatic cesspool of pretentious, obnoxious characters. But hey, I guess you can rest somewhat at ease. This game isn't like other games I've talked about. DmC isn't considered in canon with the rest of the Devil May Cry universe, so Uncle Dante can stay untainted in our hearts for now. Of course, considering that the achievement for beating this game is called... Don't bet on it. I can only assume we may never again see our crazy old friend.
That aged poorly.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Oh my god, I'm crying my fucking eyes out.
Charlie, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, we did it, guys.
We did it.
You made me sit through torture.
Yep. Well, I had okay. In the process of making a response video to multiple of these, I have to share the torture with you guys. You don't. You suffering on my own just isn't as fun. You know.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
I don't have the same thing to say.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. It would be nice to see a reboot sequel. It would be nice if Capcom said, hey, you can continue DmC Devil May Cry only under the name DmC Devil May Cry. But that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Itsuno will even continue the original series. He fucking should. It's kind of at a high point right now. Honestly, I've never really liked the way Capcom treats Devil May Cry. They kind of treat it as a franchise that's like, yeah, it doesn't really sell well. Like it's which it really doesn't if you compare it to something like Street Fighter or
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, yeah, exactly. And so they kind of treat it like, oh, it's a irrelevant franchise that's not really successful and it's not going to go anywhere. And it's like, no, I think there's still some merit and substance in there, and you should definitely utilize that. It would be perfect if they came out with a DMC 6 literally this year. I don't know why they're not doing anything for the 20th anniversary. Like, I'm kind of surprised they're not even doing like remasters or remakes of older games that are on older hardware and not just ports. Like, I'm surprised we're not getting a DMC 6 or something like a DMC 3 remake or a DMC 1 remake. It's really surprising that we're getting.
I feel like with Capcom and DMC, I think too much rests alone on Itsuno. Like If he's not doing it, nobody is there to like champion DMC as a franchise, because now he's moved on to like the Dragon's Dogma, and that's cool. He wants to do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody else is confident enough to like be the director of DMC.
Yeah, that's why they
and-
tried their best to hand it to Ninja Theory, but obviously that didn't go well.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I mean, for sure, I agree. I don't think Capcom gives it as much importance as Resident Evil or Street Fighter, etc. But I think there's also nobody else other than Itsuno who's willing to take it up, as you know, as making more and more sequels and giving more substance to the franchise. So
Yeah,
somebody needs to be there.
I mean, what else is there?
It'll be us, guys. We'll do it.
Yeah, the fans, right? Honestly, I wouldn't mind. This is gonna sound people are gonna fucking hate me for this. I wouldn't mind if they sold it to somebody else. If it means that we have to continue the franchise and they need to sell it to somebody, sell it to Ninja Theory. Because
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, like the reboot universe has much more to discover and find new things, and like the Angels perspective and the Angel world we still haven't seen, etc. There's like so much to see in that world, and it just got started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
not just the Angels, but Sparta, where Dante's going, how Virgil's gonna become like.
Yeah,
all
I mean,
that
are we gonna see Dante with the Devil May Cry store and whatnot? Like, there's so much cool stuff to see. And
maybe Devil May Cry is not even a fucking devil hunting business. Maybe it's a fucking bar that he just owns.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And it's not even a business to hunt demons because, well, nobody can see them.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, they can now.
Well, they can because of the Hellgate thing, but yeah.
I think that like he'd almost become like the new, for lack of a better comparison, like the new Batman. Like they're aware that he used to be like a terrorist, but now he's back and he's actively out protecting people because the humans have kind of been thrust into a war with demons now, and now the angels are kind of also aware of this going on because the whole like barriers that keep those worlds separate have been just absolutely broken. And I also think that would put a lot of guilt onto this Dante's shoulders because he already seems to exit the game with a lot of guilt and a lot of not being sure. And I think that opens a lot for like, I just thrust humanity into a war for their own freedom. Did they prefer to stay in silence and just be like, have their lives sucked away, but at least they had some sort of sense of comfort? Or is it good that I put them into this war and I'm trying to help them the best that I can,
Yeah, and because of this situation at the end of the game, I think Ninja Theory were planning for a sequel where he gets into conflict with Heaven because Heaven doesn't like that, the gates just opened and now the humans have to deal with the demons like right in the open. So that could have been a very interesting, story thing that they could have explored.
The real thing that I wanted from NT is that I hope that they do this some point in the future is make a gameplay system like Devil May Cry.
They could do like a spiritual sequel to DMC. I would love that because I mean for sure we're never gonna get like a reboot sequel. So why not just take what they learned from the reboot and make their own action franchise? That'll be fucking sick.
Yeah, and they have Xbox supporting them now, so.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of action game franchises that are like DMC. Like, yeah, you've got Bayonetta. It's not like DMC. You've got Metal Gear Rising. It's not like DMC. It's not like it at all. Doesn't even play like it. I don't know why people are like, dude, check out my Metal Gear Rising combo. I'm like, no. The entire game is about execution with aggressive AI and using the environment, not about
just play Ninja Gaiden instead. Play Ninja Gaiden. Forget Metal Gear Rising. It's not.
That game, Lost Soul Aside, is coming out. It's got a super small team though, and it's taken forever to get news on that game. And I hope that we get something on it soon. I mean, the gameplay looks okay. I just hope it's not all flash and all spectacle. And I hope there's actual engagement with the combat because, I mean, what's the point in having a game that's all spectacle with its combat and no substance? There's many action games that have that problem.
Yeah.
And I don't want that one to be the next victim of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new have you guys seen any stuff from the Gamescom thing that just happened a few days ago?
That was recent, wasn't it? That was super recent.
Yeah,
Today was the last day, I think, or yesterday, one of the two.
Yeah, I saw like Wolong, like this Chinese game made by Team Ninja, not Ninja Theory. Team Ninja, the Ninja Gaiden guys back in the day. Like they made Neo and stuff. Have you seen Wolong?
Yeah, it's
Warlock?
game with like the monkeys and stuff, right? The monkey looking.
No,
game?
that's Wukong.
Oh, that's Wukong. Okay.
Wukong. This is
I guess I don't know.
Wolong. It's pretty cool. It's like it's Neo style, but you're not managing you don't have a stamina bar like Neo or Dark Souls or anything. So it should be pretty good as an action game. Although I think just like Dark Souls and Neo, it's going to be more one-on-one. So I don't think it's going to be as engaging as these other games, but it's still going to be a pretty interesting action game to look forward to. And do you guys know of Wanted Dead?
Wanted
Dead? Are you talking about not Evil Dead, but
No,
Evil
Wanted
West?
Dead. Let me just post.
Oh shit, my girlfriend's here. That's funny. That's my Emily. That's my girlfriend. She's in the chat. That's so funny.
Oh, okay.
I was not expecting her to show up. I sent her the link and just said, if you want to hear me talk a bunch of BS, go ahead.
She missed the part where you were losing your sanity.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll just post Wanted Dead on the chat link. You guys can check it out. It's by the OG what do you call Ninja Gaiden devs.
Interesting.
So it looks a little bit jank, but they've got like about half a year until release, so they're gonna polish it up, I think.
It looks yeah, it almost looks Neo-ish.
But this one's not like, this is more like Metal Gear Rising, Ninja Gaiden-ish. With
I'd like to try it.
I'll be right back. I gotta use the restroom.
Okay.
I'm looking at it right now. It seems really nice. I like the boss fights.
This is by Team Ninja, huh? That's cool.
No. It's not Team Ninja. This is it's the ex-developers who left Team Ninja and made their own. Just like how Hideki Kamiya left Capcom and made his own thing.
Then why did it say Team Ninja in the trailer? Is it like a separate branch or something?
Team Ninja? Which trailer are you watching?
We're watching Wulong Fallen Dynasty.
Oh, that's Team Ninja. The Wanted Dead gameplay that I just posted in voice chat, that's not Team Ninja. That's ex-Team Ninja guys.
Wanted Dead. Okay. We're watching Wulong.
Okay.
Splinter, check out Wanted Dead.
Yep, I'm looking at it.
It's in voice chat.
This game looks cool. It looks pretty solid as long as there's no stamina bar. I'm fucking sick of that's why I don't like people like Neo. I don't like Neo because of excessive loot, but I mean the combat would be solid too. And I mean there's like the recovery system or whatever with the stamina bar, but I still don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of boring.
It's grindy.
Yeah, all the more reason. What the fuck?
Yeah, but these games, Wolong and Wanted Dead, they look pretty solid as action games. So let's see.
Why it looks like the way it moves and stuff kind of reminds me of like Sifu a bit.
Have you played Sifu?
No, but just the look of it.
Yeah, Sifu is really good. I definitely recommend it. It's getting like a pretty substantial update in 2 days. with like new modes and shit.
Yeah, Snow is the he's the Shofu expert player. You know, he made a whole live stream. He did it really well.
Yeah, I was doing like a bit of a challenge run.
That's cool.
I thought it was a world's first. I put it up on the title. It's like world's first of doing this challenge run, blah blah, and then I just found somebody else did it.
Very cool. I primarily played DmC 4, and Metal Gear Rising, and I play
Nice.
Arkham Knight too. I actually do style on Arkham Knight, which is pretty interesting.
I'm actually playing playing through Arkham, like all the Arkham games, because I was kind of hyped for the Spider-Man release, so I was like in the mood to play some superhero games. So I
even Spider-Man has a good combat system. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not just mashing square. You can actually do some pretty interesting stuff, and like that's another thing I'd like to talk about is Arkham's combat. Like, people look at it, and I guess the problem with Arkham is the buildup of I guess that meter that
The special moves, yeah.
Yeah, the special meter. Like, if you just keep it full, you're gonna keep knocking out people, and you can
Yeah,
just
yeah, that's like it'll just make it
and
OP.
that's the problem, is that it doesn't give the player, like, I mean, unless they have that mindset, it doesn't give the player the idea to style. It just gives them the idea of, if my meter's full, I can mash X and boom, they're all dead.
But you can consider that meter like a DT, like of Devil May Cry also doesn't give you the freedom to DT all the time and just go OP bullshit all the time, right? Because that would be the equivalent in Arkham. You
Yeah.
could just take everyone out in one move.
I think it also depends on the enemy type, because like if you've got a big enemy and your meter's full, you can't just walk up to him and fucking press square and knock him out.
Yeah.
It's like you have to stun him first. So when I made a couple videos about like how to style on Arkham, it was pretty fun because it was like I felt different. It felt like I was actually utilizing my tools and my arsenal instead of just punch, 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 counter, punch, counter, punch, punch, counter, punch, counter. Like it was just
Actually, the game also incentivizes using all your moves because it gives you like a variation bonus. Like after every combat encounter.
Yeah, so yeah, that's another good point. Is like at the end it does say like gadget variety and move variety.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is another incentive to the player.
And that was there since Arkham Asylum from the first game that they gave you a variation bonus. So it was always there to kind of mix it up.
Damn. Yeah, nice. Yeah, Arkham Knight it's my favorite of the Arkham games, personally.
Yeah, same here. I love Arkham Knight.
I like it a lot. And people are like, oh, Batmobile, though, that's the problem. I'm like, yeah,
okay.
I don't mind the Batmobile.
Mine is Arkham City, and I do agree it's Arkham Knight is weaker than Arkham City, but not because of the Batmobile. I love the Batmobile. It's fucking awesome. Even, I mean, I think pacing, it does break the pacing a little bit, but just generally, I love the Batmobile. I even love the tank mode, but there are other things with Arkham Knight that it just gets in the way.
Yeah. Yeah, Arkham Knight is, I mean, there's certainly flaws with it, but I like the graphics. I like the feel of the game. I think it's the smoothest of the Arkham games, and it's not jank.
Yeah, exactly. It has like it's the fullest potential of the Arkham system. Like, I mean, not only is the story like near perfect for the game, I think it's like the logical extent of Arkham, which I think is like the perfect way to end trilogy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I played Arkham Knight or Arkham Asylum at 60 FPS, and it was in that collection with it was back on the PS4.
Oh, right. Return to Arkham.
Yeah, Return to Arkham, and I thought it was still really jank, even with the improvements and whatnot. But I mean, I was also very much forgiving toward it because I was like, oh yeah, this game came out in 2009.
2009, yeah.
And you know, this game was really amazing for 2009.
Oh yeah.
Same with like, because Bayonetta came out in 2009 too, right? Didn't
Yep.
it? Yeah.
Yep.
Like that game, that must have been just incredible for 2009. And same with
Oh
like
yeah.
DmC4, incredible for 2008, I would say, in terms of combat systems. But
what do you guys think of the stealth in the Arkham games?
Really
stealth
good.
games. I mean, I'm not.
I
It's not
I'll
my
say I
focus, but I enjoy
I,
it.
I'll say this is one of the things that I really don't like in Arkham Knight, the stealth. What you saw my video of the gadget switching, right, Splinter? Of Arkham City and Arkham Knight,
Yeah.
of how Arkham Knight basically ruins the D-pad, like the real-time D-pad gadget switching
Yeah,
that you
yeah, I
have.
think that's pretty bad. Like getting him to stop, time just to switch is kind of
It stops time and it blocks. It's right in the center of the screen. That's the worst part. And if you play on PC, they knew it was bad design, because if you play on PC and you're playing on keyboard, you still have real-time gadget switching without covering the entire screen and blocking if you use 1 2 3 4 on your keyboard. So they still have that system, but you have to play on fucking keyboard. Nobody wants to do that. So it's yeah, I mean, those kinds of imperfections in Arkham Knight kind of brings it down for me. It's not the Batmobile. I love the Batmobile, but there are certain other things that I, have some gripes with. But yeah, just in general, fantastic franchise like Arkham. So that's why I'm super hyped for Suicide Squad, because it's their first game since Arkham Knight. Gotham Knights though, oh my god. Like I wanted to get that game.
No.
But everything that I've seen so far, I'm like,
No.
I want to like this game, but I can't.
Dude,
I just can't.
It looks so bad.
Gotham Knights is really something else.
It looks.
Did you
so
see Harley
dang.
Quinn's design?
No.
Oh, you guys should see it. It's really bad.
Yeah, she's got like a square jaw. Like it's probably squarer than mine.
She's got weird makeup on her, and her colors are like got weird. Yeah, it's like Snow says, where it's like squares and stuff, and like overlapping other things. It's very strange.
Let me see this.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that was my reaction too.
What the fuck is that?
I was like super down for Gotham Knights when it was first revealed. I was like, okay, like interesting story. They're kind of, in the legacy of Arkham games. But the more I've seen, I'm just like, I just don't know.
Not to get like fucking political or like socially, like I don't even know.
Let's go for it. Go for it.
What is with gaming companies putting? I mean, this is gonna sound fucked up, but what's with gaming companies putting masculine features on female characters, and they just look absolutely abysmal? Like they look terrible. There's just some.
Because it's hot, Percival. You don't know.
No, it's fucking not. Okay, the protagonist of Horizon Zero Dawn, like in the second game in Forbidden West, looks way worse in the promotional art, at least. I don't know if it was like the angles or whatever they use. I haven't played the game, but she looked fucking terrible. I don't know. I don't know what's.
Yeah, I think with that game, like they actually use like a real life model, so they pick up all the imperfections. So maybe
she's a real person.
Yeah, she is.
Just to give it my 2 cents, if I'm looking at the right pictures of Harley, I don't even think she looks that bad or masculine. Some women have jawlines that happen to be more like that. I have a friend who's really, really tall and she just has broad shoulders. Women like that just exist. So not to be disrespectful, but I don't really agree. But
you don't have to agree.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, so where I would disagree to that is that women like that exist. That's fine, but you're making Harley Quinn. Make a good
That's
Harley
fair.
Quinn.
Yeah,
I just
Suicide
don't-
Squad's version of Harley Quinn in the game looks far better.
I think that you can think that it looks better. Like, I get that. I think that it's relatively subjective. And I might be looking at the wrong pictures of her, but when I looked up Gotham Knights Harley Quinn, she doesn't really look masculine to me. She looks relatively feminine still.
Well, to me,
Yeah.
the issue isn't the masculine part. My issue is everything else. Like,
Yeah,
her
yeah, I
design
mean,
is,
completely.
like, really bad.
That's fair. I mean, I think it's kind of subjective. I don't mind it, but you don't have to like it. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
for me, it's the entire design of the game. Like they're going with this weird looter shooter kind of thing, and also the actual gameplay. You had Arkham Knight released like 7 years ago. This looks worse than Arkham Asylum to me, and I recently played Arkham Asylum, and oh my god, I can't believe that this game is looking the way it's looking, combat wise, gameplay wise. There was this like one showcase with Batgirl, and she's like going into stealth mode and taking out dudes without even firearms. Like
I
as
got
it,
into a debate actually with somebody because I commented underneath a Arkham Knight video or Gotham Knights video saying this is how this character should be played. It was the Red Hood showcase.
Mhm.
And
Motherfucker conjures
and
souls to double jump.
You showed off fucking Arkham Knight, right?
I did. I showed off Arkham Knight.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Nightwing, on Twitter basically. I was like, bruh.
I like Nightwing's Arkham City design.
Arkham City, his gameplay in Arkham City, oh my god, it was so much fun.
And I got a good retweet from somebody. They were like, "This 7-year-old game makes Gotham Knights Red Hood look like the Wish version." Just shit, it was so fun.
What the fuck?
So anyway, I put if you want to see this debate here, I'm gonna stream it real quick. Shit was fucking funny. And so
It's so hilarious. He's using non-lethal rounds. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, he conjures souls to double jump, guys. I don't think
guys, armor piercing what is that?
Yeah, I don't get it, dude. And they were like, "Oh, well, he's paying homage to Batman." And this game comes out on my birthday. I just realized, by the way. And they're like, "Oh,
Amazing.
he's paying homage to Batman, and by doing that, he is not going to."
Now he has armor piercing non-lethal rounds.
No, you do not know Jason Todd. If Jason Todd found out fucking Batman died, he would go ballistic, and he would still fucking kill people. He would kill those that tried to kill Batman, probably.
Yeah, that's my issue with modern Red Hood, because in like not New 52, but around New 52 time, like Red Hood was killing, and I thought that was in character. But in more recent stuff, like, you know, Red Hood Rebirth, which I still like that comic, but it just like doesn't make sense for a character that's whole morality is built around killing his enemies doesn't kill people.
Yeah. So I commented, I put a tweet underneath, and I put, "This is how Red Hood should be played." It was underneath the Gotham Knights. Red Hood's got range, and it was a quoted retweet from the IGN first Gotham Knights showcase. And this person put, "So like Batman, but with worse gadgets."
What?
And I was like, "Less gadgets. Not sure what you mean by worse gadgets when I'm clearly using them effectively and stylishly. And I don't know what's worse about them. The grappling hook is great for evasive maneuvers, utilizing movement and closing the gap on enemies, and the flashbang is great for stunning enemies to get the combo meter up."
And you have guns, so you're gonna use guns.
I love doing beatdowns from afar. That is by far the coolest thing about Red Hood's gameplay.
And they were like, yeah, what else did they say? They were like, "So it's a worse cape stun that uses a gadget and something that could be done more safely with a dodge roll or just straight up attacking, since no arena is big enough for your LMB to not hit if your combo is above 3. I don't know what LMB is. Confused. But
You mean LB is like L1? You mean
LMB.
LMB?
Yeah, it's weird.
What? like left shoulder button, like on an Xbox pad.
I have
I have
no
no idea.
idea.
Called the X phone. That's
Must be
what I
that
always
mouth
call it.
I don't. But anyway, they just kept going on how the gadgets.
Oh, Sasquatch just told us LMB stands for left mouse button.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's okay. He's playing on fucking mouse and keyboard. Awesome.
Actually, I'm playing on controller. Anyway,
But yeah, I agree, Sasquatch. The gameplay in Gotham Knights look horrible. I've been keeping up with it, and it's like baffling how worse it's gotten. You know, I'm not one to like jump on the hate train. I still want to at least give this game a chance when it releases, but even then, like,
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I've been like I've wanted like at reveal I wanted to get the game, and I had wanted to like actually I'd planned to buy it and play it with my brother in co-op, but now I've been following it, and as I followed it, the less and less interested I've been in. So it's just very disappointing.
yeah, and it has the Bat family. Like one of the coolest parts of DC Comics is the Bat family. You know, how many good characters there are, and then only to have this. So, oh well. The only thing DC wise I'm hyped for is, like I said, the Kill the Justice League by Rocksteady. So
yeah, that's gonna be something to look forward to.
I just wish they had more narrative. I mean, not narrative, but more cohesion. Because when they started, like, I know Montreal started with Batman Beyond, and then that didn't happen. But then Montreal then also started Suicide Squad, and then that didn't happen for them, and then they switched it over to Rocksteady. So they were kind of in limbo for a year. I'm pretty sure at one point they were working on a Superman game.
Where'd you hear that they started it and Rocksteady took over? Where'd you hear about that?
I don't remember where I heard it from, but they were originally had that planned for their game.
Oh, I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah, but Rocksteady took it over. Either because I don't know the reason why. Either Montreal lost interest or they weren't clever with it or whatever. But yeah, I think they wanted to do something new instead of another Arkham game. So they were like, "Hey, there's this Suicide Squad idea," and they were like, "Yeah, sure." So.
And then they fucked it up. So
Yeah.
Rocksteady had to pick up the pieces. All right.
Yep. Oh man, WB Montreal is not known for its good games. I know people like Shadow of Mordor, but I don't see the appeal. I played all the first one and the second one, and I still don't.
What I haven't played those, but what I heard was they're good Assassin's Creed games. With a cool like procedural nemesis system thing.
The problem with Montreal, and yes, they did make Arkham Origins, which I am not too favorable on, even though my video is not the greatest on it. I still think that Arkham Origins is not particularly a great game. I would also like to say, like, the problem with the Shadow of Mordor games is that once you figure out the stealth, like the, what's it called, the system where you can rank up certain
Nemesis system.
Yeah, the Nemesis system. Like, all that at first seems good, which it is. But the problem is that once you get to do what you want, the gameplay is like, okay, here you go, do whatever you want. And then it's less about the story and the narrative because the story is just like paper thin. So all you're doing is like repeating the same steps over and over again. Okay, this guy has this weakness. Okay, let me go over here. Let me set this up. Even though they changed some things, it's like the second game still felt like the first game,
Yeah. It's iterative, I guess. So.
Yeah, but I don't. The other game that they have working on is the Harry Potter game, which I haven't heard.
Wait, that's WB Montreal?
I believe so. Here, we can double check.
I thought that. Okay. That looks way too good to be the same guys as Arkham Origins.
Here, I'm pulling up an article. Hold on. Here. Oh, never mind. It's made of a subsection of WB Games, which is an Avalanche software.
Yeah.
Okay,
Avalanche.
I was wrong.
They're not Montreal. It's different. I think Montreal is just working on Gotham Knights, which
Oh,
is.
dude, did you hear about the merger between WB and Discovery?
I heard. Yeah, I heard there's changes going on, but
Yeah, they literally canceled Batgirl even though it was finished. So I'm worried that the games might suffer the same fate.
Yeah, let's see. It's weird to like just cancel a finished movie. That's such a strange thing to do. But let's see what happens to their games. But I think even though I don't know, like WB, like the properties are big enough that if somebody else, the properties are big enough and enticing enough that if somebody else is interested, they're just gonna buy it because it's too like those properties are too big, too popular for it to just rot in Discovery's management, mismanagement. So
I don't know.
even if they do,
They canceled Titans, Doom Patrol, Young Justice, like.
oof. Yeah. So even if they do mismanage it, I think they're good enough properties that somebody else will pick it up. If they mismanage it, but let's see how it goes. We'll know in a few years. We won't know now.
Yep, we'll see. Anyway, I think I'm gonna head out. I'm kind of tired from all this. We did great though. This will definitely help my video, and it was a lot of fun doing this as usual.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, this will probably be my last live stream because after this video is out, I'm not doing videos anymore. I need to focus on IRL stuff. So.
Oh really? You're done with your YouTube channel completely?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh damn.
Yeah, as soon as this reboot video releases, I'm just gonna be, and say that I'm done. So, because
or maybe just taking a break or what?
No, I think I'm gonna be done with it indefinitely. The problem is, when I make videos like this, is that it like consumes all that I've done, right? So for instance, like me working on Arkham Origins, I spent an unhealthy amount of time. Like for instance, I need to do school stuff right around the time I was making Batman Arkham Origins video, but because I was so honed in and focused on trying to make the Batman Arkham Origins video, I completely like threw away all the IRL stuff in my life, and that's really unhealthy for me. So
Yeah. Okay.
I've got a lot of money saved up since I worked, so I'm gonna try and put that into like a TV show or something. I'm gonna try and make a budget and see if I can like make a TV show and like post it on YouTube via a different channel. But
Yeah, I had asked. I mean, I had, I was, I told you like this before, but I mean, if you want to take a break, that's great. But I would say like a better, healthy, balancing point would be like make shorter videos, like make 10-minute videos that are also well produced, like how you make your other stuff. But that because why do like videos like with what's his name, the Brit, the critical Brit, what's his fucking name, that the guy's video that
the Gaming Brit show.
Yeah, the Gaming Brit. Yeah, so like his videos, like if they were like fucking 4 hours long, nobody would watch it, right?
Right.
So they condense all their ideas to like make it a little bit tighter. Like there are videos that do have like 4 hour long, critiques that also get a lot of views. But I think you can learn a lot by condensing all your ideas into like much tighter packages. So, and it's a skill, like to make very complex ideas and condensing it to like a very short 2-3 sentence thing. So I don't know, it's something that you can think about if you want to still keep doing YouTube, but in like a slightly more healthy fashion.
Honestly, I'm kind of done with the whole YouTube thing just in general, honestly.
All right,
I don't.
that's cool too.
It's funny because like when I started, making YouTube videos, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a big YouTuber and all that, like most of us dream. But over time, the more I did it, the more I just didn't want this. This is not something that I want to make. I want to make like films and TV shows and write for stories and direct stuff. I don't have an interest in YouTube videos anymore. It's just
Sure.
so.
Yeah, that's completely fine too. All right, man. Was fun.
Yep, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you guys, especially you, Splinter, for this. I'm sorry that I showed up late. I didn't know if Splinter, you wanted to do our announcement here.
There's not a lot of people left in the stream, so I say we just do it announcement wise in the DmC Devil May Cry server, not the Brotherhood.
Okay. Yeah.
We can make it from both of us. Do you want to write it, or do you want me to write it? Because I'm thinking it makes more sense coming from your mouth, than mine.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay.
All right, see you guys later.
Yeah. See ya. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Bye. Alrighty, and that is the end of the stream. Just like that. I'm gonna leave it at that. Splinter, did you hear about the flash screening score? Oh my god. They showed it off, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool and all, but like turns out there's a ton of other articles that get a lot of good ratings. Be looking forward to your DmC Devil May Cry video. Oh yeah, thank you. Honestly, that video is what I'm gonna do. Since the video is so long, is something like nearly unheard of for a lot of YouTube videos. What I'm gonna do is like a pick and choose type scenario, where you go, hey, I want to watch this section, and this section, and then just be done with the video. So you would watch the intro, watch the sections that you want to, and then go to the end to get that recap. Some people are gonna watch long videos, some people aren't. So I want to make it in a way where they don't have to watch the full thing. But yeah, my DmC Devil May Cry video is really special so far. It's coming along really, really great. And thank you again for being a part of the stream and chatting and whatever. But yeah, that will be my final video on YouTube, and I don't think I'll stream again. Maybe if I really need footage for something, or I need to get through something, but it seems unlikely. But thank you all for being here, and I'm going to call that a day. It was a fun stream. That's fair enough. Sounds good. No problem. Yeah, thanks. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, this all means a lot. So thank you. I love you guys. Peace.